and I had my aunt, number 2 mom, and number 3 was my mother-in-law.
Oh my God.
They were all my buds.
Oh Lord Jesus.
You're lucky one.
How do we open the meeting tonight?
I just had it there.
6:03, I think we are all together, right? Don?
Jackie there?
Louise opening the.
Start. Okay. Let's call to the order. Welcome everybody, R604. Welcome to the HRB Historic Research Board meeting. This is Luis Machain. I call to roll call to the order. Roll call, please, Trish.
Sure. Luis Machain,
Here.
Yolanda Delgado,
Present.
David Medeiros,
Here.
Mary Baines,
Dr. Baines is here, but I'm having
Okay.
some technical difficulty printing out my, it won't let me print my, I'll do it later.
and Jackie Morris Lopez. Gosh, I just had her on the phone at 5 o'clock or so. So she's in the loop.
She here?
I don't see her.
She's here. She's here. She's just probably unmuting. She's on her phone.
Oh, well, we have a
Oh yeah, it says in the phone.
quorum with 4.
I see her.
Here.
Okay,
Great, thank you. All present.
perfect.
Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jackie. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good evening.
Welcome, Dr. Baines and Jackie. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I'm sorry I don't have my, can you see me? Because
Yeah.
I was there.
Okay, please.
Can you see the video? There.
Yes.
I see somebody. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's please stand and let's start with pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the
of
flag
of
the United States
the United
States
States of America.
to the
One
republic
nation.
for which it stands,
Stands
one nation,
one nation under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with
with liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all.
For all.
Thank you. Okay, let's start with the introducing our new members for the Historical Resource Board, Dr. Mary Baines and Jackie Morris Lopez. Please, Dr. Mary Baines,
Yes?
welcome. So
Well, thank you very much. I'm honored.
we read already your,
Can you still see me? Because sometimes you
yes,
disappear. Okay.
I think we can see you. Jackie, welcome.
Yes, good evening. Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard.
Thank you, Luis. I want to say thank you to all the rest of the HRB board members and the public that's listening or watching. I'm very honored to be appointed to this position, and I look forward to working with the group and the citizens. I would really want to work hard to get some citizen involvement, and also really help to maintain our beautiful historic little town. I apologize for not being on video tonight. There was a lot of material to download, so I'm choosing to be on the phone to only have audio, and I'm looking at slides on my laptop. So next time I'll try to be on the video as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh, I would like, I didn't know the floor was open for me to respond.
Yes.
Oh, well, actually, I'd like to express my gratitude for your welcoming, and I look forward to working with you all collaboratively. I'm honored to be doing this civic duty once again, which I thought I had retired from, but however, you can move away from something, but sometimes it follows you. San Juan is a beautiful place. It's a gorgeous place with some awesome people, and I'm looking forward to doing the best job possible for all of the citizens of San Juan Bautista. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Baines.
Yeah.
Okay, I think let's move on there. Next item is selection of the board chairperson and vice chairperson. So I think personally, I want to point to David Madeiros for chair this
Are we, yeah, are we doing this just for the Historic Resource Board
Right.
at this point in time?
Yes.
So you nominated me, right, Louise?
yes.
I nominate, if the floor is still open, I nominate Jackie Morris Lopez for to chair the HRB. Can we have two? I mean, can we nominate two or three or whatever? I want to
Yeah.
make sure we're doing this right.
So we vote on them one at a time. But
Oh, we're
if there
going
are
to
others-
vote on one at a time?
As chair, and then we have the vice chair.
Okay.
But you're right, we have the chair of the planning commission and the vice chair of the planning commission later in the agenda. And I don't know that you can be both, on the chair of both.
Can we entertain that? Can we find out? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
We're nominating for the chair,
Of the HRB.
Yes.
Yes,
I-
HRB.
and I nominate Dr. Mary Baines for the chair.
For the chair of the historical,
Board
Society.
resort.
Historic Resource Board.
Yes,
oh, may I comment?
yes.
Sure.
I respectfully decline for this reason, that I'm the new kid on the block, and I just want to take an opportunity to get my feet wet and to understand the circumstances of everything that's going on. And I don't feel that I would be the best person to be the chair, just being the new kid on the block.
Okay,
But thank you very much.
okay, so then I nominate Jackie Morris Lopez for the chair.
This is Jackie Morris Lopez. I'm honored to be nominated. My sentiments are like Dr. Mary Baines. I'd have to decline the chair position at this time. I nominate Mr. David Medeiros for the chair.
And
There's already a nomination for him.
Yeah, there's
That's
already a
great.
nomination.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
so Jackie, you're stepping down. Is that what you're saying? You're,
Yes, yes.
oh,
Being the newest member to the board and also new member to any civic duty board, I think at this time I would need to have a little bit more experience in order to do a good job, a great job.
So do we have to take a vote if he's the only one that's been,
Yeah, I think it's
Nominate.
David for chair. So I think we have only David for chair the historical board resource.
Can we do a roll call?
Okay.
Want to do a roll call vote? Okay. Board Member Baines,
Oh, yes.
Aye.
Board Member Delgado,
Aye.
Board Member Matt Shane,
Aye.
Board Member Maderis,
I
and Board
guess,
Member,
I guess so.
I have a list. And Board Member Morris Lopez.
Aye.
All right, that's 5-0. Thank you.
Okay. Now for Vice Chair, I want to point Yolanda Delgado for Vice Chair.
We ask for a second?
I second it.
All right, so we have Board Member Baines,
Aye.
Board Member Delgado,
Aye.
Board Member Matt Shane,
Aye.
Board Member Maderis,
I
Board Member Morris Lopez.
Aye.
All right, that's 5-0. So we have chairperson is David Maderis and vice chair is Yolanda Delgado.
Great.
Okay.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
everybody.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, David.
Do
Your
I have-
turn.
Pardon me?
It's your turn.
No.
Okay, do I take over now? Is that the deal?
Oh, yes.
I was afraid of that. Okay. All right, let's go into the next item. So congratulations to everybody. Being that I'm now new chair, I just want to say welcome to everybody that's joining this new particular Historic Resource Board. Welcome all the board members. I know that we're going to, as they say, Jill and gel together as a group, and I think we're going to turn the page and go forward, as they say, and build whatever we have to build in our community, particularly, hopefully they can count on us to do the job that they expect us to do. Knowing that Jackie, Mary, and Louise, and Yolanda, it's going to be exciting. So I think we got a good group going here. That being said, let's go on to the next item, which is the public comment section. Does anybody have anything that within our listening, or raise their hand if they want? They have anything that's not on the agenda? Basically, dealing with our Historic Resource Board. Anybody who wants to come forward and speak to us now? I open it up to the public for comments. Anybody?
I don't see any hands raised.
So we want to press on?
I think
Okay,
so.
closing the public comment section. Item, we're going to go to item 4, consent items. And for those of you who are new here, all matters listed under the consent agenda may be enacted by one motion authorizing actions indicated for those items so designated. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless requested by a member of the board or staff member or a citizen. So what do we do?
I'm sorry. You froze a minute for one of those sentences. Could you repeat the last 2 sentences, please?
It says there will be no separate discussion of these items unless requested by a member of the board, a staff member, or a citizen.
Thank you.
So, and then right now, as far as these items A and B, the A is approve affidavit of the posting agenda, and B, approve minutes of the November 11th, 2020 meeting. Anybody wants to make a motion?
I motion that you approve the 11, was it 11/20?
Yeah, are you making a motion for A and B items
Yes,
jointly?
yes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yolanda,
Aye.
Any opposition, any opposing?
Yolanda, you're
Okay.
muted.
So do we do roll? Do we need to do a roll on that?
Well, wait a minute, David. David, can
Yeah.
Dr. Baines because she wasn't here at that time, can she make a motion to pass those minutes?
Yes,
They're
we need to pass the minutes. The city attorney has said, for purposes of passing the minutes,
They're public
anybody,
record, right? Aren't they?
that's right.
Well, the reason I'm saying is that because at the city council meeting, Friels declined to vote because he wasn't a part of the minutes, and it would be a violation. So I'm
It
just
would not be,
asking.
no, that's incorrect. It would not be a violation. We need to pass the minutes, so
Oh, okay,
it's
no,
up to her if she wants to decline, but
I'm
all
just,
5 of you can vote.
okay.
Thank you, Yolanda. Anybody else have anything to say?
No, I just was wondering. No, I have no problem with it. Okay. let's-
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Thank you for saying that. So do you want to do a roll, or do you want to just accept the, as it is right now? Because it was, all in favor was aye and no opposition. Okay, so we'll go forward to item number 5, action items. We have action item, which is A and B. A is consider recommending the planning commission extending the term of the temporary parklets. Somebody just messed me up here. I'm trying to read here, Don.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Let's see.
I'm sharing my screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now I don't have anything to read in front of me.
Well,
Well, I'll ask staff to read item
okay.
A.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Because this was our meeting introducing 2 new members, I do have kind of an outline for us, and I'm going into a little more detail for those of the commissioners who've been here and board members the longest. I'm kind of repeating some stuff just as an introduction. So I can help you with this part. I'm prepared. I like to prepare slides for our commission and board to review some of the more the bigger items. And in this case, item 5, action items, and item 6, discussion items. I have a few slides on each of those. Some of these items are shared between the HRB and the Planning Commission, but they also have different roles in regards to each of them. So I'll try and as an introduction to share that with you so that everybody stays on the same page tonight. So we have action items that include the 3rd Street parklet policies. And we also have a unique item for the HRB to consider receipt of a donation of Highway 101 signs for 3rd Street. And then on discussion, we're going to talk about the City Council Strategic Plan from February 2020 and a proposal for the Urban Growth Ad Hoc Committee, and then finally conflict of interest. So the HRB agenda is pretty good agenda tonight. For the parklets downtown on 3rd Street, after the COVID shelter-in-place order was issued, we hired our community liaison, Liz Turner, and established a business forum that meets Wednesday mornings and has now for, I believe, 35 weeks, almost consecutive weeks since April or May. And through that business forum, we established our parklet program, our transformation of 3rd Street, and a parklet subcommittee in the fall of 2020, because the interest was the big investment in the parklets and folks wanting to keep them permanently or keep them as long as they can, as long as it's viable. So the subcommittee met 3 or 4 times and invited the Historic Resources Board to join. And the following slides were shared in the business forum. It's just we studied what permanent meant in our city code and what it meant to the city. So these are slides I shared with the subcommittee. And after talking with the city attorney and our planner, David Mack, they tried to convince me that this was a big undertaking. And the more they shared their thoughts and concerns with me, the more I understood what they were saying. And so we kind of backed away from the word permanent and headed more towards a 6-month extension. So right now, the parklets can stay in place under their current permits, encroachment permits, until the end of March. And before the Planning Commission tonight is the idea of extending that 6 months. And we would take this to the commission tonight. And as you can see, there's a town hall meeting on parklets, just focused on parklets, next Tuesday with the city council. So should the extension be considered, that would be considered by the city council at their regular meeting on the 16th. So we talk about making something permanent, changing a two-way street to a one-way street, it's a big deal. And it needs a holistic study. It needs a holistic approach. We need to talk about the residents. We need to talk about the stakeholders, not just business owners, but property owners. We need to talk to the historic state parks. We need to talk to the mission. We need to talk to everyone we can and put a plan together that folks agree on. And the design of such a plan would not just be the parklets. It would be removing our infrastructure underground from the right-of-way that we would have to relinquish. So by going from 2 lanes to 1 lane, we would have to move water lines. We would have to reconstruct the street. We would have to prepare storm drain plans for the new, more modified storm drain requirements. So these are all a big deal. And it's at least 6 months in conceptual design, 9 to 12 months for the construction plans, and to award the bid and to construct is a long time. So I just wanted to put that in scope because I had the experience of doing this, and we shared, and this is why I shared the slides with the committee. You don't have to have them all memorized for tonight, but this is a link to the City of Salinas Downtown Vibrancy Plan. And I walked through the Downtown Vibrancy Plan. We started in 2013, and in 2015, the plan was approved. And we're just building it now in 2020. So downtown Salinas is getting new plumbing, new storm drains, new sidewalks, and it's going to be beautiful when they're done. But it's just a huge project and a huge undertaking. So when we talk about permanent, this is the kind of thing that the planners and the attorneys come back to me with. They're looking at 4 chapters in the downtown plan. One is vehicular circulation. How does traffic move through the area? Ironically, in Salinas, they changed a one-way street back to 2-way streets. So all of Main Street will be 2 ways. They talked about taking surface parking lots and building structured parking, and then taking those vacant lots now and putting housing on them and inviting housing downtown so that you have a 24/7 presence in the downtown. So it's, and then of course there's the historic attributes of the downtown, preserving those and embellishing on those with public art and fountains and other things. So it's an extensive study, and I wasn't sure that that's what we meant when we talked about making parklets permanent, but that was a takeaway from the staff at City Hall. I wanted to share that opinion with everyone because it is a big deal. So there was no problem with the Environmental Quality Act of extending these for another 6 months, and that was my concern. If you keep extending a temporary thing, at what point does it become permanent? So, so what this would do was a 6-month extension would allow us to evaluate options and consider our choices, send out a request for proposals, and move forward with our stakeholder teams and so forth. But we chose not to do that because of a number of reasons. And we assured the Historical Resources Board after receiving their letter January 4th that we would think of parking and some of these other issues. So this is the Vonda Giebert writing us on behalf of the Historical Resources Board. And this is why it's relevant to the HRB, because to make the parklets permanent, a comprehensive review would be required, as the one I just summarized, and including the visual impact on the historic buildings and the environment. And so part of that process, we should review our parking supply. And we do have some preliminary ideas on how to expand parking, because each parklet does, of course, take up parking in our downtown. So they look forward to being part of this discussion. And I believe Vonda is with us and Cara is with us tonight. So there'll be time for them to speak to this matter as we move forward. So specific issues and parklets related to the HRB, we have design guidelines for our parklets, and we've been revising them and updating them. We need to bring them forward from the HRB to the Planning Commission to the City Council for final approval. I think we've been doing this long enough now that we can finalize our design guidelines and have them approved. We need to balance the saturation of parklets with parking. As the Historical Resources Board points out, the more parklets we have, the less parking we have on street. And it's important in our current 3rd Street historical design guidelines that we leave open space for people to rest and chat and socialize, and for people to walk in between. So if we oversaturate our downtown with parklets, it's too much of a good thing, perhaps. But this all has to be done in consideration of some of our buildings that are currently vacant, and Casa Rosa comes to mind. They're in the phase right now of applying for and receiving their building permits, which is really exciting. But this Casa Rosa's then tenant in their commercial space on the first floor, do they get a parklet? They may not be occupied for 18 months or so, 2 years. So these are things that we need to consider, and equity and fairness between all the property owners needs to be considered. We need to ensure that the historic building facades are not compromised or blocked from view. Compromised, you cannot attach a parklet to a historic building. That would not be okay. I need to assure that aesthetics of the parklets match the building, not just match other buildings, but match the building that they're in front of. So those are some of the issues. And in the Planning Commission side, we're going to talk more about process. But the Historic Resources Board has two kinds of design approval. A minor design, a minor alteration is referred to as painting a building the same color that it was, or replacing a wooden deck with a wooden deck. A major alteration is when you change that building by changing a tile roof to a asphalt shingle roof or something of that nature. That's considered major. So as we talked about a process in our subcommittee, we talked about making new parklets become a major alteration subject to HRB review, as any other major alteration would be in the downtown. So these are issues that we need to talk about and have more conversation about. So moving from a comprehensive plan to a 6-month extension, we would consider limiting the number of parklets, moving forward to expand parking where feasible and quick, painting new angle parking by JJ's or by Muckalemme and 4th Streets, establishing a permanent parklet permit that is a combination of engineering, design, and safety, and defining parklets for the use of electricity, lighting, signs, decorations, seasonal features, both permanent and seasonal. So those are the things that I would like the city to work on as we extend these into September. And hopefully by September, the COVID crisis will be done, and it'll be easier to understand how fast our economy is recovering, how much tourism comes back. I hope it's 110%, and I hope we have a terrible parking problem because we're so busy. So that's where I'm at with the parklets, and it's and I'm hoping that the HRB will approve extending these for 6 months and let the Planning Commission talk about it further in a few minutes. And with that, Chair Medeiros, I'm happy to answer any questions. You are on that committee, and so is HRB member Delgado. Maybe you can add to what I've put here today and shed some light on things. Thank you very much.
Okay, so on this particular item, let's bring it to the commission, the board members. Do we have any questions for staff?
I have I do. Dr. Baines here. Was there an independent feasibility study done, or is that in process now on permanency versus temporary parklets? Is that going on now?
We haven't gotten to that level yet. We don't have a budget, but we could.
Yeah, that would be my next question about the budget. Yeah.
We could consider a budget amendment at the February 16th council meeting, because we'll be talking about the mid-year budget at that time. So if a study or something like that is of interest, we can put that forward. We have time to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would recommend that a feasibility study be, part of the process. But then you have to generate funds for that too. I'm not sure what the budget is because I'm not familiar with the finances of the city at this point.
We also had a hand raised from Commissioner Delgado with a question.
Well, Ms. Brewery 25.
Right, but I think we're doing the commissioners first, is what
Okay.
our chair advised,
Okay, let me put my hand down.
and then we'll do public.
In that, and I wanted to say that in our meetings, we talked about Third Street, that it was already in the plan. So if we were to just know if the parklets were to become permanent, because like we discussed on, Third Street was already in the motion to be revamped, correct?
Well, in various ways. Certainly
So,
the water lines and the pressure for fire suppression, those are things that have been considered in our capital improvement program
so,
before.
so they've already been in our capital improvement, so that wouldn't really be a part with the parklets because we need to do that anyways because we're an older city, correct? So that's not an issue that we should hinder on with our parklet issues, or should it, Don?
Well, as the mayor and I have discussed, if we're going to tear up a street, we should try and address everything at once. And that's what we did with the reconstruction of Third Street on the western side, is we replaced the sewer lines and the water lines and the storm drains, and we redid everything at once because that way we only had to tear it up once. And
Okay,
so,
and-
so
And that's what I'm saying, that we should design maybe the waters and everything in the pretensions that we are going to keep these parklets. And if we don't, we didn't lose anything. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Good point.
If we don't make a permanent, then there's no harm. If we do make a permanent, then it's the issue's resolved. So that's one thing maybe you can incorporate in your vision for Third Street. And I believe we were gonna talk about making Polk also parallel parking. Did you get a chance to revisit that and include that?
I've had a chance to ask the city engineer to revisit the plans we created in July. So she's looking at those now and reconsidering them. I don't have any recommendations from her specifically.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we have Commissioner Morris Lopez also has her hand raised.
Yes, good evening. I just have new to this issue, so I guess our role here, and my comment is that I appreciate, all of the work that the subcommittees and the business owners and everyone else has done to this point. I guess my comment would be is that, with COVID, maybe there could be something stated in the proposal or the recommendation that these be temporary due to the economic impact our city has taken, being that our city relies heavily on commerce of tourism due to COVID, that we're considering and recommending that these parklets be temporarily in place for the 6 months. I feel that that's the only reason that we have parklets, and I'll discuss that more as the planning commissioner. But I read the minutes from November, and I did see that there was some concern by Commissioner Friels and Commissioner Maderos in regards to the parklets and their effect in the overall historic nature of downtown. So those are my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if there are no more commissioners to comment, go ahead. Did you, Trish?
Okay.
Did you have
So
something? I was going to go ahead and I've taken note of who was first in the public comments, but I don't know if.
I haven't gone in that direction yet.
Okay.
Okay. So Luis, board member Luis Machan, do you have anything to say or ask at this time? Before we
Well,
move?
yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
thank you, David. I think we all this. I think for the next 6 months, I think we have enough time for prepare a good project. If we want, to evaluate the permanent parklets, and I think we should not be afraid in ending this time to approve if we have a good projects, a good design for these parklets. I think we have a good designers on board, and there are many designs that could be blended with this historical city. So I recommend, to not be afraid of this kind of designs. These parklets are, I think they're gonna to be, they're not, uh, be against our historical our historical town or so. I think they're going to improve our city, and I think if we have a good designs. So, and by the moment, I think I recommend to approve for this time for the 100 days these parklets.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Thank you, Luis. I don't have any further to add to that myself personally. I am anxious to go forward with the temporary. This is going to be for a temporary situation that we're doing with the parklets. So I think in the next 6 months, we could have a lot more discussions, or we could do a lot more
Yeah.
to add to that as far as what historical values there are that we need to deal with in the future. That being said, if nobody else in the board has anything further to say, I'll open it up to the public. We have anybody from the public who would like
I
to
have
speak
one more thing
on
to
this
say.
particular item?
I do, David. This is Commissioner Delgado.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we, as you and I have been on these committees, and Dawn, we've all just gone back and forth for a minute. What is historical? David, you yourself have said the bell for the mission has been changed how many times, and now it's historical. And I agree with Luis that we shouldn't be afraid of implementing something that was back in the 1800s. But for right now, I think we really need to look at what we have to do in the streets and getting all the verbiage correctly, the ordinance. And I don't want to continually extend this. I would like to give some kind of validation or non-validation after the 6 months to the business. They're frustrated, and Dawn, can you help me here? I mean, how long would it take for us to do all these studies? Would it take 6 months? Would it not take 6 months? Like Dr. Baines said, visibility and the money and all this. What would we have to start to ascertain these to move forward to be permanent, if we can at all?
I think we could do a feasibility study, and it wouldn't cost a lot of money. A lot of the work is done.
Okay.
Sounds like.
That feasibility study could be done between now and June.
Okay.
And it could be used to inform the new budget July 1.
Okay. And when can our historical start defining like how we have a tentative, like 36 inches high to 46. When are we gonna all be able to start, hashing out what is permanent for these parklets? Because we still have not made a final decision of this is how high, this is how wide. We just have
That
all.
sounds like a policy issue there that needs time to get established. And I don't know if that's being worked on right now.
Yeah. Well,
The policy.
yeah.
That's the point of our guidelines, right? But we could have our feasibility team get the guidelines shipshape for us as well.
Okay, for right now, though, so if there's no more questions from the board or concerns from the board, I want to move it towards public and open it up to the public. Do we have
Sure.
anybody from the public?
Chairperson Maderos, we have Brewery 25 that was first.
Good evening, everybody. My apologies. I want to make sure you can hear me. I'm actually at my parents' house, so I haven't used internet here, so I want to make sure everybody hears me okay?
You're great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dawn, for all the information. Dawn's been really great. So I'm Fran Fitzharris, and I'm a local business owner in downtown San Juan Bautista. I'm your local brewery. I'm a beer manufacturer. And I really appreciate what Dawn has done to educate me. I have a parklet. Unfortunately, I have a parklet that I built for $5,000 that I haven't been able to use yet because of the pandemic and all the restrictions. But I'm still committed and I want to be in San Juan. I appreciate what Luis said earlier about not being afraid of this outdoor dining and parklets and all that. Thank you, Luis. David Medeiros and Yolanda, who have been on our Wednesday meetings and educating us on all the rules and restrictions and everything. It's been a really great experience having them on our meetings. So I just want to be here to say that I understand all the concerns, and it's a mixed bag as far as whether you love the parklets or not. But I want to share with you, and I'm not going to mention businesses, but I'm going to tell you from a food and beverage standpoint, the people that have committed to being in San Juan Bautista. You have a coffee roaster. You know, we haven't had a coffee roaster in our area for many years, but you have a coffee roaster that's been here for over 10 years. And they came very early on when there was very poor number of businesses going. You know, we can't continue to put all of our eggs, you know, on the shoulders of Doña Esther's and Jardines. You know, they've carried the weight for us for many, many years. But now you've got, you know, you got a coffee roaster, you've got a Michelin chef who opened a restaurant in our area during the pandemic, okay? You have 2 female business owners that have been in the wine industry for many years, you know, in the Central Coast and also Santa Clara Valley that open businesses here. You have a local brewery. We haven't had a full production brewery since San Andreas Brewing Company in Hollister. In 1988 is when they opened. So you have a brewery here now, and this is all in San Juan Bautista. You have someone who was born and raised here that went out, traveled, and came back and opened up this very small little cafe that's serving these amazing sandwiches that has a huge following. You have an amazing Japanese restaurant where it's an amazing family, and you have a member of that family who opened the first sushi restaurant in 1968 in Monterey. Like, you have all these people that have chosen to be in San Juan Bautista. So I asked all of you, city and the planning, like, you guys have the people that picked to be here. And this is all without, you know, economic development. We've done it ourselves. And so I'm just asking that you please partner with us. If it's not parklets, it's something else. But what we want is we want you to work with us and partner with us for outdoor dining. Outdoor dining is what we need going forward. And we want you to tell us, what can we do? So it's not an issue of no to parklets. It's an issue of what can we do to take San Juan Bautista to the next level? Because outdoor dining is that. And that's what we need to do. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kika.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. Now we have Vanda Guibert from the Historical Society.
Hi there. Oops, where am I? Can you hear
We
me?
hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, Fran's a tough act to follow. She's been a real asset to town. I just had a point of clarification. Don, you mentioned the letter that we had written. That was the Historical Society, not the Historic Resources Board, of which I was a member for 10 years. Anyway, I'm happy to be on the subcommittee and to share the voice of the Historical Society. We support the work that they do, the work that the businesses do to maintain economic vitality in town. I think the feasibility study is really going to help us to see where we need to go with this. It's going to dictate everything, what we can afford, what we need to do for the infrastructure of the Main Street. And that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
We have Jared from the Smoke Point.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we got
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for letting me talk and sharing the time. And thanks for making it such a nice, welcoming To the lovely city of San Juan, I've never been happier in my life. So thank you all for making that possible for us. I wanted to point out a couple of things that I think are important, some of which have been touched on. One of which is Fran's statement that outdoor dining is kind of the wave of the future. If anybody spent any time outside of the States, you'll realize that everybody wants to dine outside or on a rooftop. That's where everybody wants to be. We have a very unique climate here that's beautiful outside, and that's where people want to be. So I urge everybody to consider this a change. But on the notion of change, when it comes to small business, restaurants, bars, breweries, we have over the last year been forced to not modify our business positions. They have been decimated, and we have rebuilt them, and we continue to rebuild them. And what we hear from city, state, and federal is that there are positions that create a juggernaut of things moving forward that have to do with testing and storm drains. And I believe all of those things are very realistic. But I do think it's important that as the board of the city, that we do represent first that small business, especially restaurants and bars, are in a fight for our life. And when we talk about a fight for our life, we are talking about a vital, essential part of the community. So anything that's within inside anyone's power to view this position and say, we understand that there are logistical problems. We understand the tests need to be done. We understand that there's sewer drains and all of these problems, but can look at that and understand at any moment that we are the ones that are bending like Gumby at every corner to fight for survival, while the positions that have remained protected through this tend to just stay and treat things like they always were. So I urge everybody on this board and in the city of San Juan to step into the new economy, because COVID changed the world. Not angry or disappointed in anyone here. I think your guys' designs of the parklet were leading in the community. It's some of the most beautiful designs that I've seen. The public has embraced them. So I urge you to change your position on not wanting to fortify that you are at least trying to make attempts to make them permanent. I understand that there's lawyers, but that's not necessarily the most important thing at this time. Thank you all for the time. Thank you for welcoming us to the community. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Jared.
Thank you.
Commissioner Medeiros, I don't see any, oh wait, sorry, Cara Vonk has her hand raised. Go ahead, Cara. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. I've got a technical question. Where is the raise your hand icon? I cannot find it. Maybe
Hit your
somebody
more
can help
button.
me with that. Huh?
Hit your more button
More.
at the
I
bottom
don't
of your,
see-
in your right hand, bottom of your screen.
Cara, on my
Right.
screen, I have the reactions icon, and you click on that and you can put your thumb up or raise your
I
hand.
know, but, oh, okay. I see that one.
Okay.
I just had a question. Could you, or maybe Dawn could define, what is a feasibility study? It's unclear to me what that means. Thank you.
Do you want to take this down, or you want me to respond?
You can correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Baines. Let me take a stab at it.
Okay.
It's an assessment of where we are and a path to where we want to be. I heard David Medeiros talk about where is the road to making these parklets a real deal. So it's an assessment of what we have, our current design guidelines, and how to shape those up and make things work into the future in a sustainable way. So is it feasible? How much does that cost? Who bears the cost? How is it maintained, and how is it sustained over time?
Aesthetic and physical and a social impact also.
Okay, so I hear silence, so I guess I better say something. Are there any other public comments, concerns, or questions?
Chairperson Medeiros, I don't see anyone else. I'm going to look one more time. And no, I don't see any other hands raised.
Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to close the public portion of this and bring it back to the board members. Is there anything further that needs to be discussed at this point in time before we make any decision? I don't hear anything. So I am waiting to hear a motion.
Can I make a motion to make the parklets extend for 6 months? But yeah, that's all I can make a motion for, right, David?
You can?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I
make that
second it.
motion, but I want to make that motion to make extend it for another 6 months.
I second the motion.
You're going to have a second on the motion. Okay, all those in favor of to recommend to the Planning Commission to extend the term of the temporary parklets on 3rd Street on to 100 days until the 30th of September of this year. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there anyone in opposition of that?
Aye.
We have one opposition.
No, aye. I'm voting in
Okay,
favor. to
all
continue.
right. So we have, okay, do we need a roll call on that or not? So it's all in favor that we do extend it to 6 months?
Aye.
And there's no
Aye.
opposition? Okay, you want to record that, please? So 5A has been approved for extension. Okay, go to the next item on 5, which is B, proposal for by the Historical Society to install historic Highway 101 signs in San Juan Bautista to commemorate the historic route and enhance the city's historic attraction. Staff,
Thank
do
you.
we have any report on this?
Yeah, just real quick. We received a letter from the Historical Society November 6th, introducing these Highway 101 historical signs to the city. We brought them forward just as an information, just quick introduction at the November 11th HRB meeting. Basically, Highway 101 originally went through 3rd Street. Caltrans has established historic Highway 101 signs, and the historic route is no longer controlled by Caltrans. So signs have been acquired by the Historical Society, and by means of this letter, they're making a request of the city to have 3 signs installed at Luck Park, the Alameda, and perhaps at the intersection of San Juan Road and the Alameda. And this is what the signs look like. Vonda brought this forward, and so maybe she wants to speak to this item.
Thank you, Don. We actually haven't bought them yet. We wanted to get the city's approval first.
Okay.
And these are signs that Caltrans has approved. So they're the typical brown and cream color that designates a historical significance. And we have budgeted up to 4. And the location, will be up to the city. But as you said, Luck Park at the corner of 3rd and Monterey, maybe that triangle where 4th and 3rd meet. I was even thinking today that maybe near JJ's would be a good sign too, because it's just entering the downtown district. And it might be a nice focal point for JJ's. I mean, there was a gas station where JJ's is now. And then we might want it to go, across the highway on the Alameda, going out of town or coming into town. I don't know which way you want to go. But anyway, we've approved up to 4 signs. We've allocated the budget for it. If the city will donate the poles if needed and provide the installation. So I guess that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have, Don, do we have a response for that? As
No,
far
the
as
city-
providing anything, any resources to help out with this situation?
We'd be happy to support this effort.
Okay,
I would think
So-
it'd be beneficial to use existing signs if possible rather than adding new ones. And there is a post where the old Chevron station was, where the George Diaz station, near where the preschool was, where the solar panels are now. There's a pole in the ground now that might be a good one. I don't know.
We'll work
We
with
could do-
you. We'll work with you on that.
Okay.
So that being said, there's nothing further to add as far as staff is concerned or historical society. Let's turn it back to us, which is the board members. Are there any questions on behalf of the board or concerns?
Commissioner Delgado has her hand raised.
Board member Delgado?
Board member, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Rhonda and Cara, for getting these signs. They look totally cool. I have a question. Do we have any old ones that we have locked up somewhere in San Juan that we can use? And if not, and if we purchase these, can I buy one?
You can buy them on Amazon. I bought one. We actually have two in the museum. They're maybe $19 on
So
Amazon.
are they the old ones? Are they replicas?
No, they're facsimiles, and they may not be weather resistant, those ones. The ones we're going to buy are Caltrans and Department of Transportation approved. So they'd have better durability. And if there were signs remaining, I don't know why San Juan would have them, because they were the states. But I don't know. I can't.
I'm not aware. Yeah.
You know, like where, and this is where I kind of miss Scott. He would know if that barn where you guys have the old bells and wood handles. I don't know which, you remember him talking about that, Don? Maybe some of those, you know which one where they put a lot of the old stuff in there. Maybe we can look in there.
Sure, I can talk to Nick.
Yeah, and okay, that's all. And I think they're cool, and where you want to place them are great.
I'm glad you support this. I think heritage tourism is a big deal. We have a
Yeah.
Facebook presence, and every time there's an old road, like the San Juan Grade Road, or there's a group called California Historic Highways and West Coast Roads. They will post on our page, and we follow their page. So I think it'll be a good way to spread the word about San Juan if people haven't heard about us already. But I think it's a win-win.
Good, thank you. Is there anybody else on the board member? Any board member want to speak with us?
Yeah.
We have Dr. Baines.
Well, I'm in agreement with it. I think that it would increase our presence on Facebook and draw more tourism to the city because of the historical element that it has there. And I think it's a good move to have them.
Good.
Yeah. Luis, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I just love it. One that is, I just want to congratulate you. I love it. Thank you so much, Wanda, for your efforts.
Well, thank you, Cara, too. She really did a lot of work on this.
You both are great.
We
Thank you.
also have board person Lopez.
Yes, hi, this is board member Morris Lopez. And I also want to say thank you for the historical signs. I think it's really great. My husband and I took a road trip a couple years ago from Tampa all the way to California, Route 66, and this is really incredible. I think it will bring more tourism to the town. My only comment is the placement of the signs and correction on JJ's. JJ's was not a gas station. Kenny's 76 station was where the thrift store is. That was a gas station.
Right,
believe
there
it or
wasn't
not.
one, though. There was
Yeah.
one where JJ's is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are a lot of gas stations in town.
So anyway, I think the signs, though, my 2 cents is that at the extreme of 3rd Street, I think there's a lot of busyness on 3rd Street, and with the parklets and the businesses, maybe extending the signs to the Bioluck Library, and then probably the Triangle. I think the Triangle has lots of signage there, but certainly, the preschool, the solar panels. And then also my question or comment, does the extension of Highway 101 is on the other side of the highway on the Alameda, like maybe a sign coming down from the grade or close to the turn where you're going towards Copperleaf. That might be a really cool place to put a sign. There's a lot of tourists that go over the grade and come into town, people on motorcycles and cars and whatnot. But thank you. I think it's a great outfit.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that, I guess that's it. It leaves it up to me, and I'm in favor of this. I know that between the Historical Society and the staff here in San Juan City Hall, we'll be happy to help in any way that we can to make sure that we put them in the right places. And
Great.
they do measure up to what they do, and they bring a lot more tourists into town. So I'm in favor of it. Now, that being said, is there anybody in the public who want to talk to this? I have complete silence. Does that mean silence?
I don't see any hands.
Okay. So that, if there's nobody from public that want any comments, any concerns, any questions, I'll bring it back to the board members. Is there anything else you want to add to this or take away?
Dr. Baines?
Dr. Baines.
Okay.
I'm not adding to this. I'm just thanking you all for the warm welcome that I received. And I look forward to working with you all for the benefit of and the progress of San Juan Bautista. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so for action item B on section 5, who's going to make a move or make a motion on this?
I want
And again, it's a proposal by the Historical Society to install historic highway 101 signs in San Juan Bautista to commemorate the historic route and enhance the city's historic attraction. Who wants to make a motion on that?
I motion that it be so.
Do I get a
I
second?
second that motion. I second that motion.
Thank you. All those in favor of the action item B, say aye.
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 Is there any opposition? So be it. Looks like the ayes have it, so it's been approved. Okay, next item is number 6, discussion items. We have 3 items. And the first one is item A, which is review proposed reorganization of planning and community development department, review city council strategic plan, and suggest areas for change and reconsideration.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
This one's mine, buddy. This is something new. I didn't do this last year, but I want to keep the Planning Commission and HRB supporting our city council as we make decisions heading towards our budget. It's typical in a budget cycle for a city to close its books in the fall and conduct its audit, and we approved our audit January 19th. We're working on mid-year budget adjustments for special one-time things like the feasibility study we just discussed. That'll come forward on February 16th at the regular meeting. And we had last year, February 15th, a strategic planning meeting. Some may remember we had good attendance at the library on a Saturday morning and spent a good half a day talking about the city's priorities. And it's a goal when we put our public budget together that the money we appropriate in the budget speaks to these strategies, these qualities of life. And so the council agreed on, and these are just summaries of the 4 strategies, to create, promote, and nurture partnerships within our community. We know how important that is, especially for a community of our size. Second was to preserve, protect, promote our community assets and economic vitality while maintaining the history and cultural charm. And the third is to invest, maintain, and strengthen, plan, renew our vital infrastructure, which has been a big focus of mine, our water in particular. And then the quality of life, promoting health and safety for the community and a sense of security. Following the strategic planning, we did a survey. We got about 170 responses. And by far, 70% of the responses pointed towards our small our small, quaint community as one of our best assets. So as we think of that in terms of historic preservation, I'm proposing to the City Council, and we discussed briefly January 19th, a reorganization of our planning department that reintegrates it in my that we preserve, protect, promote our community. This is our second strategic plan, and that we do that by funding training for our HRB members, that we stay engaged with our state and national historic preservation and stay in touch with the trends in that field. We keep our inventory current, our status up to date. We consider new candidates every several years as becoming part of our historic inventory. We consider new additions to the registrar and incentives that focus on preserving historic buildings that may be in disrepair. So this is the kind of strategy I'd like to bring forward in the form of a revamped community development department. And this is the organizational chart that I shared with our City Council January 19th. And you can see in this org chart that community development would be greatly expanded and include 4 different disciplines, but it's specifically a discipline about historic preservation. The alterations of design and the current planning needs, the preservation of our existing inventory, and the 3rd Street design and guidelines for our parklets, and the mission and state park coordination. And there's also regional efforts also in historic preservation. So I'm going to bring this matter back before the Planning Commission. We'll talk about the rest of the organizational chart. But if there's anything in terms of historical preservation that I can add to this list to bring forward to the City Council, I would like your feedback and the community's feedback on this proposed organization and reinvigoration of historic preservation in our city. That's my report, Chair.
All right, thank you, Don. So that being said, so what we're going to do with this right now, Don, is we're going to go review this and we're going to bring it before the people and discuss it and have any questions, but then we're going to review this again during the Planning Commission portion.
Yes, because I want to talk more about the role of an assistant city manager and the current planning, advanced planning, and economic development and housing. These are all issues that
All right, so that said, on this one particular item, does anybody in the board, any member of the board that want to speak to this before we go on to the next item or go to the public?
Yes, me.
Yes, Louise.
I have a question. Don, I just like this new organization. We will need more staff for these new pretensions from our city.
Yes, and that's where I'm recommending a position that does 2 things. It gives me backup in case I can't be at work in the form of an assistant city manager, but it also emphasizes a recruitment that includes a planning director position. In our current budget, we had $50 an hour budgeted for an assistant city manager position at 30 hours a week. And it was left by the previous city manager for someone like me to decide whether that should be a public works city manager or a planning city manager. And with my background in Salinas Public Works for 10 years, I'm finding it a greater need for our city to focus on staffing up our community development department. So we did have an associate planner, as you know. Todd worked hard for us for a number of years. And we do have a combination now of part-time staff and 4-leaf that's managing our building permits and our inspections. And there's a combination of things now that I think having a director to be able to bring them all together and keep them unified and assess if we can afford a part-time planner, for example, behind him or her to support this would be great. So this is going to be part of my mid-year budget proposal to the City Council, is to consider funding an assistant city manager planning director position. We have a part-time position now that is vacant. Marty Brown was working with us. She was handling a lot of the urban growth, annexation, and general plan work for us. She was handling some of the housing and community development grants that we've received, and she moved on to full-time employment. So it's an opportunity to rethink how we use those funds and apply them in a broader sense across all the planning disciplines that we have to tackle.
So I have a question, referring about the four-leaf. Four-leaf is in charge about only well, as plan checkers, or they are as well as planning and building? Or it's only planning and building, or it's only building?
It's only building. Minnie helps us with our permits. She helps coordinate the review of plan check by sending them to David Mack, our contract planner, and to Julie Passad, our city engineer. She makes sure that those reviews come through quickly and that the fees are paid and so forth. And she also helps coordinate inspections of the private developments. Our city engineer is scheduling inspections of the public developments. So if someone needs a building inspection to make sure that their house that they're building is being done safely, that's four-leaf. If someone is putting in a new sidewalk or storm drain or something, that's Terry from the Julie and our city engineers, CSG. So those are examples of how we've contracted out for those services.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Luis. Any other members of the board want to speak to this?
Dr. Baines.
I have a question. First of all, it looks like a lot of work has gone into providing this schematic for us, and I appreciate that. Two questions. One, are you looking for us to make a decision or a motion on this tonight, or are you allowing us some time to think about this before you present it to the council?
Both. It's a discussion item tonight. I'm not seeking any action, but if there were feedback, you forgot about this discipline. We have to learn how to corral horses or something. Put a function down there for that. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
if I've missed a discipline, then I'm happy to add it. And I want to take your feedback, support or not, or questions or concerns to the city council on the 16th.
Was this part of the packet? Because I apologize. I had some technical difficulty printing out my information. So it's like, for me to do it justice and give it the attention that it deserves, I need some more time to study it and, to have germane input. However, if you're working on a deadline that you have to present it to the city council by the next meeting, then,
Sure, and in the future, Dr. Baines, we're happy to print you a copy of the packet. There is a staff report. There is a staff report with this organizational chart in it that was published with our agenda.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
To help you with a printed report. I work that way too. I have one in front of me here.
Yes.
At my desk tonight, so I understand.
Okay. I apologize for not letting everybody know that this is just a discussion item. What we do with it is just to discuss it with everybody to make sure we get the feedback and the understanding where we're going to go with it in the future. So sorry about that part on my part. Any other board members who want to speak to this?
We have board member Morris Lopez.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Looking at the org chart, I just had comments and maybe a question for Don Reynolds. So I'm looking from left to right, and under the header of building and safety, you have two areas: building permits, inspection, private development in parentheses, and then to the right of that you have current planning and code enforcement. Would that not be perhaps maybe fit under the building and safety category? I'm not quite understanding. That's just my feedback maybe. Since you're talking about building and safety, you have code enforcement. I'm assuming that that's maybe code enforcement with building. And Also, in regards to the mention of the new general plan that was strategic plan from February 15th in 2020, is it possible for the new board members to receive a copy of that document or the plan for review?
Yes,
Thank
and that
you.
was also part of the staff report. Thank you, Commissioner. So I wanted to get into the left side of the chart later, but a quick answer to your questions. Current planning refers to zoning and land use, and what we refer to as entitlement permits. So when someone comes to City Hall or gives us a call or an email, I want to build a gas station on this property, it's the zoning, it's interpretation of the zoning that happens and the entitlement process that happens. And sometimes they're entitled to build that commercial, but maybe they have to get a conditional use permit or another kind of entitlement permit. So that's what the current planning staff does. And then they set conditions for how that project is going to be built. And that's a strict interpretation of what code enforcement is. It's are they following the zoning? Are they following the planning laws that are specifically outlined in the government code as well as in our own municipal code? So the building permits, they're enforcing the building code. And the building code is all about safety. It's all about making sure your house doesn't fall down, your electrical wires don't electrocute anybody. And so we issue building permits to people strictly on how the building is put together. So they're two distinct disciplines. And I can see how with these labels that I put on them, they would get confusing. And it's, people get degrees in planning, so it's a very complicated and in-depth field. The advanced planning is focused more on the general plan and annexations and the city's growth, and perhaps new general plan elements like a health element or an economic development element, and also to be involved in regional planning. So that's kind of a preview of what I was going to be talking about when we got to the Planning Commission section of this. But I hope that's clear. Code enforcement in our city has meant a lot of different things. Parking enforcement, abandoned vehicles, it's meant a lot of different things. Chickens, it's meant a variety of things. So I wanted to provide this org chart with little functions in it so that you understood how they all work together. And I thought this was a good opportunity because you're brand new, Commissioner, to our city, and so you kind of get a feel for how things could work.
Thank you, both of you. Anybody else on the member of the board?
I do.
We have Yolanda.
Yeah, so
Or
Don, I
Ricardo.
know you want to go into it to the next, in the planning commission, but the funds to hire somebody, because I think Marty was just part-time, correct?
Yes, she was 20 hours a week.
20 hours a week. So you want to hire somebody for 30? Does this include benefits? And
Absolutely.
who are they going to? I mean, our budget is very concerning to me, as you know, because I bring this up all the time about the 4 particular positions working over their 20 hours that have not been able to stay at 20 hours. I'm just worried about the budget. And, you know, the general fund is, and I read the general fund, we have 2-point-some million, but how long is 2-point-some million gonna hold us when you want to build something of the water and so forth? And I'm just wondering, can we afford it and to hire more people? And are we going to post it, or are you just going to pick someone like you have for the other positions?
No, this would be a recruited position.
Can't hear you.
Yes, this position would be posted, certainly, and the job description would have to be approved by the city council. But my point, Yolanda, is you hit the nail on the head. I'm reviewing the mid-year budget, and if possible, I hope to bring forward sufficient funding for this position. And I say that with some confidence because our property taxes are substantially higher than they've ever been. And this was a windfall for us, and it's a sustainable windfall. So the new homes that sold last year surprised us pleasantly with more revenue than we anticipated. So whereas you're right, our sales tax is really not in good shape.
No.
Our hotel tax is not in good shape.
No.
I'm going to be describing for our council who makes budget decisions where we are with our budget. So before any questions are asked about how to spend money, we're going to make sure that everyone is comfortable with where we're at fiscally before we make those decisions. I agree with you 100%.
May I speak to that?
Oh, can I just finish? And Dawn, I think we have to table 6B because I requested a hard copy from Trish and she didn't print it. So I can't comment on that discussion. And I looked back in my email and it wasn't there. And then at 3:35 today, you guys added 6B and I didn't get it till 5:40. So can we table topic 6B about the urban growth and ad hoc because I haven't had a chance to review it. That's all I have to say.
It'll be up to the chair and the board.
Yeah, we'll come to that when we get to section B. Yeah, Dr. Baines, you had something further to
I
say?
just had a short comment on the economic impacts and funding issues. There are all sorts of ways of supplementing the budget. There are grant writers that will write proposals to fund various projects in your city. So I don't think that we should be fearful of expanding the staff that's necessary to do the jobs that need to get done for the benefit of the city based on, where's the money, because there's always a way of acquiring money through grant writing or supplemental incomes from the state or federal funds. So that should be less of a concern than expanding the staff so that you have adequate support and resources to do what you need to do to get the city taken care of appropriately. That was just my comment.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board that has any questions on this particular item?
Thank you, Dr. Baines, but we have a budget at hand and we don't have grants. So I'm just looking what we have now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Anybody else?
We need to bring back Mr. Todd Kennedy.
Louise, do you have anything further to add?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the public who want to talk to this particular item?
Cara has her hand up.
We have Cara Vonk with her hand raised.
Okay.
Sorry, I am technically challenged and I don't find the hand icon. I do have a couple of comments or questions. I'm taking a look at the chart, or I'm looking at the chart, and the building permit, somehow it needs to integrate with historic preservation, because we did take out building permits to do a restoration of our house, of the living room primarily, and we are on the historic inventory. And that never came up. We were never asked if we were changing out our windows or anything like that, which is part of our living room, which we're not doing. But somehow those two need to be interconnected. And Minnie is great, and it was quite burdensome in a way. It took us about 5 weeks to get our building permit because of all the back and forth, and then it got sent to Greenleaf, is it? Or Four Leaf? Four Leaf in Gilroy. There's a building person who looks at it, and then they write written comments, and then the written comments get back to you, and you have to supply further written comments, etc. But I hope Minnie has a list of our historic inventory, and when she gets a building permit, that she checks it against the historic inventory. Because I think that's where we've got, you know, kind of a gap. And let's see, I had another question. Oh yeah, actually a comment. David Mack, who's been our contract planner, I think he's been excellent. He's been a really good planner. And so I'm wondering where he would fit in this chart, because I hope we could keep him on board. And by the way, I have been in contact with Todd. He's doing fine. And he voted for the right people. Back in, was it Georgia? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cara.
So, yeah. What about David Mack? What about David? Does he fit into this chart?
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Cara. Tell Todd I said hi when you talk to him again.
Okay.
Can't wait till we can have meetings in person.
Yes, David definitely fits in. He would still be in charge of current planning and take on special projects. He's also an expert in the CEQA process. That's something we didn't have before, so.
Okay, so thank you, everybody so far. Anybody else in public that want to talk to this particular item?
You piled this whole thing up with chips and everything. I'm like, no, I can't carry all that.
I recommend to close the mix, because I think many people is with open mic and it's a lot of noise here.
Right.
I closed that mic. I don't see any other hands.
Okay, on this particular item, no other public comments or questions. Okay. I'll bring it back to, then I'll close the public section. I'll bring it back to board members. Anything further to discuss on this? None? Okay, I didn't say anything on it, but there's a lot to think about it in this particular one item, and I'm sure everybody's put on their thinking cap when it comes to this particular item. So one of the things that I saw in this in the beginning was, if we're going to talk about something like this before the board or the commission, maybe if we had a timeline in which all this thing is going to, how this is going to unfold, would be my recommendation. There's a lot, I tried to get a lot into this myself, and there's a lot of material there that we can pick up on as a board member and a commissioner. And I really like what I see in it. And so other than that, I'm looking forward to see how this is going to unfold. And I'll do whatever I can to support it, to see that this particular proposal gets achieved anyway. So that, I'm going to close this particular item and go to the next, which is item B, and that's a report on the urban growth boundary ad hoc committee status and the housing and community development grant status. So, staff, do we have a report on that?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I didn't write a report on this because in the past, it's been a standing item. It's been, let's discuss the status of the urban growth boundary ad hoc committee. And the ad hoc committee was meeting very expeditiously last fall, September, October, November. So there was always just a status report provided. And that was my intention with this item. I wasn't going to have a written report because the ad hoc committee has not met since November. So I just wanted to share, first and foremost, that we have established an ad hoc committee for the new commissioners to understand, board members, that's going to look at our urban growth boundary and our sphere of influence. And that was done last July. And it consists of 2 council members, 2 commission members, and 1 citizen at large. Commissioner Morris Lopez is moving from the at-large to the commissioner position. And so we're recruiting for an at-large member to replace her until 5:00 p.m. February 12th. So we are accepting applications for an at-large member of our ad hoc committee. 5 p.m. is the deadline, strict deadline, February 12th. at which time we can bring forward a recommendation to the City Council February 16th and have a full committee. And I expect the committee to get right back to work because we have a serious concerns and situations on our hands that, again, I go into more detail with the Planning Commission. But I anticipate the next ad hoc committee to be Monday, February 23rd. We were meeting on Monday evening. So, so there was no written report because this is what I was going to talk about. What we did distribute on Monday was a staff report shared with the City Council January 19th. It has to do with a grant. Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. For the new commissioners, and as a reminder to us all, the mission of the Urban Growth Sphere of Influence Ad Hoc Committee is to establish limits to and boundaries for growth that will serve and protect the city of San Juan Bautista now and in the future. So let's back up to the City Council strategic plan, goal number 2, and the results from our community survey, which, by the way, matched the 1988 general plan, keeping our community small and cute, and that's the emphasis. I get that as your city manager. This committee is in charge of making that happen and putting the policies in place that will make that happen. And so we ventured down this road of looking at our city boundaries, and the city boundaries are the white parcels surrounded by the purple parcels that may or may not want to be annexed or part of our city's growth. And so this is the map of State Highway 156. The 101 would be on your left, Hollister would be on your right. So what used to be a cement plant is on the bottom, and Rancho Vista Development is towards the north, heading on First Street, out past Rancho Vista. So this is a stab at our committee trying to decide what a sphere of influence might look like. And we shared this map with the commission and HRB before. And that's where we left our work at our last meeting. So what is the HRB's role in this process? When I was talking about studying some areas outside of the incorporated boundary, I got a lot of feedback from the historical resources, the Historical Society. And I think it's important to understand where the historical resources are located around the perimeter of our city when we talk about a specific sphere of influence and urban growth boundary. If we want to control growth outside of our city limits for the future to 2035, we need to know about these types of historical incredibly important matters to our city, to make sure that someone doesn't build a house on the De Anza Trail, or, God forbid, it's outside our city boundary. And so we don't have as much as control as we would like to have. So these are just some ideas of how the HRB would interact with the urban growth boundary. And maybe there are folks on the call tonight that can help embellish and speak to this. So that being said, I'm going to get more into detail on that in the Planning Commission side. So I just wanted to see how the HRB felt about historical resources around the perimeter of our city and help bring those to light so that our urban growth boundary can consider those when we meet again on February 23rd.
Thank you for giving us a report, even though you didn't have one. Board members, do we have any comments or questions to this particular subject?
We have Jackie Morse Lopez as well as Yolanda waiting in the wings.
We're open for discussions.
Okay, thank you, board members and Manager Dawn and audience listening tonight. Yes, I think this is really critical that we interface. You kind of spoke to that earlier in another item on the agenda, the strategic plan and the org chart. I think this is really important because this whole area that we live in, not just our city limits or across the Alameda on the other side of the highway, we're very rich in historical and archaeological richness and potential. And I think it's we have to do our due diligence as commissioners and board members here, speaking in this behalf, this hat. that we really, really need to consider all the influences and all the richness in history and really archaeological issues here, and be very sensitive to that when we consider future growth and development. So I really like this, and I think that we really all need to work together on all of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board members?
Yeah, Board Member Delgado.
Yeah, I can't emphasize more that if you have a discussion item, that you give us all the material beforehand, not at 3:39 today. I mean, that's all I have to say. I mean, I would have loved to read what you had so I could have given it my opinion in a discussion. But when I get it at 3:30 today, I have nothing to say. And I think we should table this so that we can get, information, so we can have an enlightened conversation of this, because it's all great, Dawn. You did a great job on your slides, but you have it on the discussion island, and it wasn't sent to me, and it's sad to me that I wasn't able to review it and be able to speak to you about it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. My comment on that, it is a discussion item. One where we are discussing it, and whatever we learn from it, we'll take it forward and make sure that we do the right things to make sure that everybody gets the word. Other than that, anybody else on the board that want to discuss this?
Yes, I just want to let to know everybody about my thought about the boundaries. As I think, we need to keep this boundary a little not too tight, as as I was talking with Jackie and the all members of the committee of Van Grout. So I tried to make a little bit, outside of the city limits, and include, for example, the cement plant and some properties north. And I say that go a little bit, far than our city limits, because if we expand our city limits, we have a little more of control of these properties. So it's because of that I'm expanding our sphere of influence. So that's my guide to make to draw the boundaries in the planning and my proposal for this sphere of influence outline.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Baines, we haven't heard from you. Have you any comments or discussion items? Discussion?
I think that a lot of attention has gone into it, and I'd like to have a little more time to gather thoughts on it. And that probably could happen if I could get a packet before well, I'm at fault also for just trying to print my stuff on the same day, where and I had a chance to peruse it while it was still digital, and then I would plan to print it off tonight and have it in front of me to have a closer look at it, and then I had technical difficulty, as I explained earlier. So I'm at fault for not giving it the attention that it deserves. And so perhaps if I could have a packet mailed to me, then I won't have to worry about my technical illiteracy or my machine breaking down or whatever, and then I can speak in more depth. But yes, I'd like to give it more attention and then comment.
Okay, thank you. My comments on that, I go along with everybody as far as the importance of this and how much time we need to spend on it. I agree with that. As far as the ad hoc committee goes, I think it ties in with the reorganization that needs to be done. I think that's going to be a part of the strategic planning and how we're going to put forward is. And what I read into it was the fact that what's being done now, it would be a template in how we deal with all our outside boundaries. And I think there's projects that we're going to be doing currently that I think that's going to help us go further with this as far as understanding where we need to go as far as our sphere of influence, what have you. So I think we're going to be spending a lot more time on this and just tonight and reviewing. I went through the package. There's really a lot there to read. It's really good information that we need to go through. It's very instructive.
Yes.
And it's not only that, it's critical for the city of San Juan Bautista. So I applaud any work that's being done in that, and I really applaud the fact that the committee that's working on the urban growth boundary committee is doing really some good work there. Looking forward to see how that all unfolds, and I think we're going to be spending a lot more time with this in the near future.
Yes.
Any other comments? Now I think I need to open up to the public on this particular discussion item. Does anybody in the public want to say anything about this?
We have Cara Vonk.
Oh, I need to unmute. Oh, I'm unmuted. I really like the list that is there on the screen, historical resources in the sphere of influence. And number one, Native American. I just want you to be aware that I do have a 1973 archaeological report, and I believe it was done for Caltrans. I can't quite remember. There was some discussion about building a big pipeline all the way out to Aromas. And it's a very detailed archaeological report. And this area south of Highway 156 is extremely rich in archaeological sites and remains, etc. So that is something that the Urban Growth Boundary Committee needs to be aware of. And then I agree with Board Member Machine. You know, we need to be able to take control of the areas surrounding our city, but it does not necessarily mean that we need to authorize housing there. And I was involved in an earlier attempt to do a specific plan for that area. And one of the ideas that we had come up with was to have a nature center somewhere just adjacent or near the De Anza Trail. So I don't know why, you know, once we do bring these lands, if we bring them into our city, then of course we have to provide water and sewer and all that kind of stuff. And then it's like the developers are just jumping on it. But if we plan it so that we don't have to build all this housing, I think we can do that, but still get control of that area. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anybody else from the public?
Your name is Cara?
No, I just had my hand raised to say thank you, Cara, for keeping that detailed thing so we can preserve and not disrupt. Thank you, Cara. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Bring it back to the board. Anything else from the board? Okay, thank you. We're going to go to the next item, which is C, conflict of interest briefing for planning commissioners. Do we have a report on that from staff?
This was a matter that was in the email exchanges over the past few days, and it applies to HRB as it does apply to planning commissioners. So we thought we would have this discussion once and not twice. Review, a briefing for commissioners, reminder for some, new information for others. that when the board votes on something and it appears to personally benefit a voting board member, then they have to recuse themselves from voting. They have to exit the Zoom meeting in this case, and then maybe through text, we ask them to invite them back into the meeting. And the confusing part about this conflict of interest laws are the definition of personal benefit. And I don't pretend to be an attorney, and I know in my past job, our city attorney would actually provide training for staff and newly elected officials so that they clearly understood what personal benefit means. So of course, you can't be bribed for a vote, right? So a developer can't pay you $1 million to vote for his project. Cash is not good when it comes to sway a vote. We know that. Payment to a board member personally or to their company. So if your company is to benefit directly, then you have to recuse yourself from that vote. And then we've learned, as we reviewed for the Planning Commission meeting portion of the agenda, that if you have a dependent relative, so it's one thing to have a relative, it's another thing, maybe your relative is an adult and they're no longer dependent upon you, then you would not have a financial benefit from something that may benefit your relative. Increase in value is a tricky one for planning commissioners in particular because it applies to land use applications. So the more intense zoning gets, if you go if you go into a housing zoning and you're voting on changing the zoning of a property and it's next to your property or it is your property, that's bad. That increases the value of your land and you're voting for personal benefit, or at least it appears that way. It doesn't have to even be that way, it just has to appear that way. And so there's this 500-foot radius criteria that mostly involves increased land value. So we have a matter later in the agenda that has to do with Franklin Park, and Commissioner Delgado is correct that the park's right in front of her house. And so improving the park will increase her land value, and she has to recuse herself from that item today. So,
Yeah.
I just, there is reporting and training. The new commissioners were invited to the League of California Cities training in March that talks about all these things. And we have a handbook, and Liz, pardon me, Trish put a piece of the handbook in the agenda packet that talks about ethics for planning commissioners and tries to clarify some of those points. So we looked for just a nice 2-page summary, but there isn't one. Every attorney has a 50-page book on this stuff. So we'll help you out as much as we can. And if we are confused, we're going to ask our city attorney, which is what we've done several times in the past few days. We've gone to Deb Moll, our city attorney, and said, what do you think of these circumstances? And we tried to make sure before tonight's meeting that everyone was aware of their status and whether or not there was a conflict of interest. So I wanted to make sure and get this out there so that the commissioners have any questions about how do I find out, or what if, or just to have a conversation with our new commissioners and standing commissioners and board members about conflict of interest. So we put that on tonight just to make sure that everyone understood what that was about. Sorry for the
Thank you.
typo.
Thank you, Don. I'm sorry I brought that up in that meeting, but I really like your slides. They're very clear. Thank you for posting these. It's a lot simpler than that. I think that this thing that you gave us to read. So thank you, Don, for your slides.
Okay, good. Well, we'll say it over and over again, and we'll all understand it in the end.
For this particular item, is there any other members of the board who want to discuss further? Yes, Louise.
Well, thank you, Don. I think it's really it's really clear. So I think it's clarified to me the past meeting, because but that's helped me a lot. So and besides this, I think I recommend as well for the new members to give a copy about I forgot the name.
Information?
Yeah, just for information, but
Conflict of,
no, for we cannot met together 3 or more is the
Brown Act, the Brown Act.
Brown Act.
Brown
yes.
Act.
Yes, Browner.
That's another tricky one. In fact, we listened to the Hollister City Council meeting last night, and the council member had just come back from the league's council member training. There's a new issue regarding the Brown Act. Thank you for bringing that up. Where texting has become a real vulnerable part of Brown Act, where if you like someone's text or you send an emoji with a happy face on it to someone's text, then it shows support for an opinion. And if it gets to 3 of you, then we violated the Brown Act, and you've only
Yeah.
sent 1 reply, so you don't even know. So the advice is to not respond to people's opinions on Facebook or in text messages if it has to do with a city or planning policy.
Yes.
Just avoid that altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Good.
An update about the Brown Act would be great for the old members and the new members.
Okay.
Thank you, Don.
Sure.
So that means that Luis can vote on the parklets because his sister is not as dependent. Is that correct?
That's right.
It's not about her particular property or business. It's about parklets in general. So, but you excused yourself when we talked about the ABC because that was related to the business. That was related to her property.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, it's not my property and nor my business, so my sister's. So,
She's not dependent upon you.
sorry?
Your voice is fading out.
I'm sorry. She doesn't depend on you. That's because I've been talking a lot tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll pay closer attention. Right.
So yeah, so Don, just clarify that. Could he have voted on that with the ABC?
I don't think so. I think he did the right thing because it's also the appearance. It's not just technically whether an attorney is going to defend you in court. It's the appearance. And
Okay.
so we want to avoid the appearance, especially in a matter where it seemed to, well, yeah, we just want to avoid the appearance. I'll go there.
Agree.
Okay.
Okay, any other board members? On this particular item, conflict of interest briefing for planning commissioners. Any other board members want to come forward? Discuss it, okay? I'm going to open it up to the public. Are there anybody in the public that want to talk about this particular item? I hear silence. One of the things that
We do have one. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go
We
ahead.
have one, Michelle Sabathia.
Hi, this is
Go ahead, Michelle.
on
Oh,
on my wife's account. Sorry, apologies.
okay.
Are there any other known board member conflicts of interest for other issues that might be voted on in the near future?
Mr. Sabathia, when we have a matter come up that's directly related to a parcel in town, we will take this 500-foot radius and draw a circle around it to see if any of the board members live close enough to have a direct impact on improving a change or development on that property. So sometimes it's a case-by-case analysis. And so those are the times when we might need to go to the attorney and get specific feedback. Depending on where you live, if there are properties being developed in your neighborhood, then you have to be more sensitive than if you lived in a place in town where it's all built out.
Understood. And are there any other board members who are related to any other property owners or business owners in town where we might draw those same lines?
David's related to almost everyone in town, aren't you, David?
Yeah, that's
Chickens.
when we come to those bridges and we have to cross them, we will make sure we're doing the right thing when it comes to any votes. Make sure there is no conflict of interest. And yes, I think we're all on our toes for that as far as that goes.
Okay.
As a board member and as commissioners, we've had some training. There's always more to learn, and we're going to get there. But as far as I know, historically, we we've never had any serious concerns with that matter. We've found ways to work with it. That being said, any other board members want to talk on this particular subject?
We do have board member Morris Lopez.
Yes, just my comment and answer to the last public question by Mr. Sabatha. My name is Jackie Morris Lopez. My daughter's Sarah Grist, just for transparency, because it came up as a question whether or not I might have a conflict. She is the owner and sole owner of Lola's Sandwich Shop on the corner of 3rd and Washington. She is not my dependent child. She is an adult, lives on her own with her husband. I have no financial interest or partnership with her in her business. And also, she does not have a parklet, and she never had a parklet. So I feel I am able to vote on the parklet matter, okay? My comment about this conflict of interest, and it's something that has been of interest to me way back before I was even thinking of running for city council. I've tried to be engaged as part of a public way back, and I myself have always felt that this was an important issue. And I'm glad that you brought it up, Mr. Sabatha. I know you're new to the area. Welcome to town. It is a small town, and often we are all interrelated. You know, not so much now like in the old days, you know, cousins and married this family, so now you're cousins with that family, and your aunt and uncle own that restaurant, or your cousin own that gas station, but not so much these days. But I think it's really important for transparency and to look at any potential conflicts, and that we do our due diligence to recuse ourselves when that comes up as an issue. And I feel that there might be some issues now that, you know, I feel that we really need to take a look at when people are elected officials and people are hired staff, or you've got two people that are elected officials, you know, and then someone else wants to volunteer to be on a board, but someone's already doing something else with city staff or city appointed seats. I feel that that also can pose a conflict, even though there isn't maybe a monetary issue or gain. There's certainly people take work home. It's natural for spouses and people that cohabitate together to discuss business and work. I feel that that's a potential conflict as well. When we get to that subject, I'd like to kind of expand on that more. I wholeheartedly want to take the training on ethics and any training that could be offered to me as a new board and commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any board member? Is there anybody in the public that want to speak to this particular subject?
Dr. Bain?
I'm not in the public, I'm commissioner, but I wanted to just express those same similar sentiments as Commissioner Jackie, I think is her name.
Okay, thank you. So that being said, item C, I'll close that, and we're going to number 7, which is comments. Do we have any further comments that needs to be expressed from the planning, from the board members?
I have one more comment, and that is had an opportunity to look at the PowerPoint that was sent earlier. The orange ones, I can't exactly remember the topic. However, they were useful. I do recall that, and I appreciate that. And I'm not sure who was responsible for that because I'm kind of new to whomever. But thank you for that. The PowerPoint presentation that was emailed to me. I had an opportunity to look at it. It was uniform and it was clear and it was helpful.
Thank you. Any other board member? This is just
Yes, I'd like to ask Don, when are we going to open up the for the you know, the residents to be on that ad hoc for the the sphere of influence. Has anybody put anything? How are we going to hire somebody?
So it's not hard, they're appointed, and they're volunteers, and they're appointed. We have opened it up, Yolanda, and we've
Okay.
sent out 2 applications so far, and we have it advertised on social media and at the post office and in other obvious places with the February 12th, 5 p.m. deadline.
So who would be the ones to choose these particular individuals?
I've reviewed the minutes, and you have actually the minutes in your, well, I reviewed the minutes from the last appointment, and the mayor was engaged in that decision. And when I spoke to Mayor Jordan, she thought that perhaps the ad hoc committee itself would choose.
Okay.
So I don't have a clear answer. We don't have a policy like we did for planning commission. So when it came time to appoint a treasurer, I recommended someone to the council, and they agreed. So, but I think the mayor would like the ad hoc committee. I need to talk to her and confirm that. But Mayor Jordan and I talked about it briefly, and she thought that made sense to her. Because it is
Okay.
about teamwork and working together. So.
Exactly.
Any other comments from the board members? Well, I do. I want to ask staff, did staff, it was a failure on my part to ask the public when they come before the board that they give their name and their address. I'm asking staff are we okay with as far as all the people that came forward? You have records of that, and that too. And the other thing, the question I'm asking is, did we get a vice chair for the Historic Resource Board? Did we get a vice chairperson?
Yes, it's Vice Chair Delgado.
Is it Delgado? Okay. Been a while since we brought
I'm
it
so
up. Okay.
quiet, aren't I, David? So quiet.
Hours ago. Yeah.
Well, that's not going to last for long. Anyway, that being said, any other board members that want to speak at this time? Any comments?
I have one
Okay.
question. I do
Yes.
have one question.
Yes.
I heard something about the next meetings, February 23rd. Is this what meeting is? I was told that the planning commission meets once a month, the first Tuesday in the month.
Correct. That was the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee. You don't have to worry about that one, Dr.
Oh,
Burns.
okay. All right.
Okay, so we're going to contract senior planner. Any comments?
Not tonight. He's not on tonight.
Not available. Okay. City manager, anything further to comment on?
I've had plenty of comment time. Thank you.
Can't hear you.
No, I've had plenty to say. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to move to adjourn. Who's going to make that move?
I motion that we adjourn.
All right.
I second.
You second?
I
Okay,
second
so
that.
okay, so the Historic Resource Board is now adjourned. Do we want to take a 5-minute break?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yes,
take a
please.
5-minute break. I'll see you at, what time is it? At 8:11?
8:11.
8:11.
Okay. Thank you, David.
So
Let me know when you're ready to go.
Okay.
I got another round of coffee.
Well, this one will be way more exciting. This will be
That's
quick.
paper. So it's shorter, right?
Yes, much shorter, much shorter.
Don, I don't mean to give you bad time, but I'm a paper and hand person.
Yeah, I get it. The report we sent out late was actually the council report from January 19. So I'm sorry if it was confusing. I didn't mean
Yeah.
to confuse you.
I'm always confused, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I should have got it out Friday before I went home.
That's all good.
So do you guys want me to call to order? Or do we have another chairperson? I mean, we got to do another nomination or election, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
As they say, pass over the gavel. Oh, by the way, everybody did very good in the last meeting. Thank you.
You're a rock star. You're a rock star.
Don't start pushing the buttons.
So are you related to the chickens too? Because you used to own a chicken farm?
We used to have, yeah, when my folks came here in 1942, it was a chicken business, chicken ranch.
So
We had eggs and everywhere. And they were in business in the Queens, New York. They had a corner store before they came to California.
Really?
So we've been business owners ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
So I worked on a ranch, started working on, well, it was a small ranch, and you know, you get to be 8 years old, you got to go to work.
Especially if you're a little boy.
Yeah. So before school and after school, there was plenty to do. And we're still here.
Yeah. Yeah. My great grandmother's laundromat in Arizona is still in the family, and it still has the same name. So it's,
Very, very, very fortunate, very lucky to be here.
yeah, they are.
Commissioner Baines disappeared.
Uh-oh. I hope she realizes we must still meet.
Let me, I can try and call her if you like.
Thank you.
All right.
She's not going to be that lucky.
I see Patricia Baines. Oh, that's Mrs. B. Okay.
Wrong Baines.
Wrong Baines.
I guess I should announce the fact that this meeting goes on. We are all one. Oh boy. Louise, are you still with us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Safe and sound.
I don't know if you had a chance to look at that finance review. Is that what that is, Don? The bottom portion of the reorganization, that one report that you put out?
Right.
The
It was a
finance portion of it?
combination. It was the
There's
first
a lot
half.
of good, there's a lot of good information on that review.
Oh, thanks for reading that.
It's really good. It even goes into ethics.
Right. It was kind of a blueprint for me a year ago, right?
Yep, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff in there.
Retired finance director, 30 years as a public finance director.
How we doing, Liz? I didn't say they can go.
Yeah, no. It's, I prefer to hear it was just a break.
Maybe they have second thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
I wear them out, huh? I wore them out with all the slides.
Yeah, the first time out, boy. Now you know how I felt when I first got started.
Yeah, when we were before the Hollister City Council last night, it was interesting. They're still getting their sea legs, some of the new council members in Hollister.
Oh, wow.
They have some smart people.
You were there?
We presented our wastewater project to the city council.
Oh, great.
Trying to get their okay for us to send our wastewater to Hollister.
Yeah, that was a really great presentation. I heard that last night. Question, can we get their website? It's so easy to get onto their meetings that I even wrote it down what it was. It was that,
Okay, sorry, she's coming. She's very confused. She thought we just finished. She was only a planning commissioner. She's coming. She was on the phone with a patient. She'll be here shortly.
Yeah, I thought everybody knew, so I didn't. That's my fault. I should have announced it.
yeah,
I thought I announced 5-minute break.
that's what I thought you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use that, what is it, that live webcast on? Maybe
they
you
do.
can use that for our council meeting? And
Yeah, we
our,
are looking at a better product, so that's a
really
good idea.
cool. Yeah, and then they had every section, you could print it out and look at it. I really, really like that. Really like that. Anyways.
Did we lose Dr. Baines?
I'm here. This
She's
is
coming.
Good.
This is good.
Good to have you here.
She's coming.
I had to switch. I had to put on the different hat.
Okay. So Jackie, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm wearing my other hat now.
Dr. Baines?
Not quite.
Not yet. She's gonna dial
Okay.
back in.
Okay.
I think we have quorum.
Yeah, we do have.
But we're appointing officers. Well, we know she doesn't want to be an officer.
Yeah.
Ditto.
I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought they'd be jumping for the chance of being an officer.
We have to go to the training first. We don't know what we're doing.
Good point.
On-the-job training is it's easy. Show up. We'll get you there.
There she is.
I appoint
So
the dog.
I guess you want me to take over this portion too, right? For now?
Okay, she's coming in.
There she is. Sorry.
You are the man in this.
Hi, Dr. Baines. You're coming at us a little sideways there.
Dr. Baines, you need to unmute. There you go. And now you're perfect. Just unmute now, Dr. Baines.
Hello?
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry about
Sorry,
that.
sorry,
I thought-
sorry for the
I thought that was
confusion.
the end.
Yep,
the
sorry for the
meeting.
confusion. Okay, so that, let's get started with the Planning Commission meeting for February 2nd. The time is 8:21. We had a little break there. I'm sure everybody got some rest. And I am temporarily chairing this. So call to order. I will call this meeting to order. And how about roll call?
Luis Machine,
Present.
Yolanda Delgado,
Present.
David Maderas,
Here.
Jackie Morris Lopez,
Here.
Dr. Mary Baines.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. All present.
Thank you. Public comments. We have public comments. Does anybody have any public comments? That this portion is dedicated to those things that should be on the agenda. Maybe you want to talk about, or anything you want to talk about at this time. Anybody in the public?
I do not see any hands.
Okay, we'll go to the next item. Ceremonial items, which is select chairperson and vice chairperson for the Planning Commission. And who would like to make a nomination?
The hand.
Pardon me?
You take the hand.
Anybody going to nominate a chairperson?
You can start.
I nominate Yolanda Delgado for chair of the Planning Commission. This is Commissioner Morris Lopez.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other nominations? I nominate Louise Machan. Anybody second?
I second it.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, we'll have roll vote or roll call for that. You want to start that, please? We nominated for nomination for Louise Machan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We have, okay, let's have a roll vote on that, please.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yes. Okay. Dr. Mary Baines,
Aye.
Jackie Morris Lopez,
Nay.
David Maderas,
Aye.
Yolanda Delgado,
Nay.
Luis Machine.
Nay.
So we
Okay,
have,
this is for Yolanda Delgado.
correct. So it looks like it's 3-2. 3 in favor, 2 against.
Okay, for Louise,
For
No.
Yolanda.
for Yolanda. Oh, okay.
Everybody know who they're voting for.
I thought we were voting for Louise.
Wanna
Can
vote
we
again?
do that again? Yeah, because
I
I'm
think so.
confused.
Let's take a vote for Yolanda. I think you're correct, Trish. Let's just take a vote for Yolanda.
Dr.
Yeah.
Mary Baines,
Nay.
Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yay.
Excuse me. I wanted to change my vote. I want to abstain, okay?
David Maderas,
Yes.
Luis Machine,
Yes.
Yolanda Delgado.
Yes.
Okay, so four voted yes and 1 abstained.
Okay, thank you. So it looks like chairperson is going to be Yolanda.
Thank you. I hope I can be as good as you are and as patient.
Don't worry, we got your back.
Just tell me when I'm at home. So now, Trish, do I ask for nominations for vice chair?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Luis Machine.
I
This
second.
is Commissioner.
I'm sorry, the second came from?
Me.
From more.
Vote on this then?
Yes. Can we all, everyone that is in favor of Luis, could you have a roll call? Trish, please.
Certainly, yes. Dr. Mary Baines,
Aye.
Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
David Maderas,
Yes.
Yolanda Delgado,
Yes.
and Luis Matshane.
Yes.
It's unanimous. 5-0.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Luis.
Thank you so much.
The next item is 4, the consent items. And we are going to approve the affidavit of posting the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve consent items A and B.
Anybody second that? I'll second that.
That was Yolanda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Roll call vote?
Yes.
Luis Matshane,
Aye.
David Maderas,
Yes.
Jackie Morris Lopez.
I'm sorry, I thought there was a brief discussion that we could have moving from the HRB to the Planning Commission agenda or platform for the action items tonight. Am I mistaken?
We're not up there. Jackie, we're not there. Yet. We're on 4. We're talking about the consent items.
Oh, I'm sorry, consent.
No worries.
My bad, sorry.
We're voting on consent? Are you
Yes.
for the, okay, thank you.
Yes.
And
Thank
Yolanda Delgado.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now this is where we're going to have the action item, consider the recommendation of the Historical Resource Board to extend the terms of the temporary parklets on 3rd Street, 108 days until September 30th. Do you have it? Go ahead, John.
So I'm sharing my screen. Thanks, Chair. Congratulations.
Thank you, Don. We can't hear you, Don.
Okay, let me fast forward. I'm sorry. Just a quick summary of the HRB consideration. And David had asked for a path forward, and so I had outlined that in an email. So I'm just reiterating it here on this slide. So action items, we're transitioning, as Commissioner Morris Lopez had asked, transitioning into action items A and B. And in A, confirming the extension of parklets for 6 months, the same exact report provided to the HRB. And the roadmap that David and I shared a week ago, approving the approval process, like major alterations subject to HRB approval, agreeing to accept existing parklets as approved. So once the policy goes into effect, we can't go back and modify someone's existing parklet. Establishing rules for noise, lighting, electricity, signs, festive temporary decorations. And then 4th, allowing non-owners permission to use another's parklet, including during special events. There was some conversation about people subleasing their parklet, a retail owner who doesn't want to have their retail out during a special event. And then determining the saturation point. These are all topics that we talked about, 18 parklets, 20 parklets. So those are all things that we'll do, and we'll set this path forward in the form of a policy, and we'll work on that feasibility study that the HRB recommended. So with that, I would ask the chair to entertain a motion to send a resolution to the City Council with the Planning Commission's approval to support extending parklets for 6 months.
Don, do we have to, can we have a discussion item and open it to the public or not?
Yes, that's the whole idea. That's another chance for the public to weigh in.
Okay. So do any of the commissioners want to speak on this?
Yes, this is Commissioner Morris Lopez.
Go ahead, Jackie, please.
I'm just wondering, do you want the public to go before the commissioners, or would you entertain the commissioners go before the public at this time?
No, the commissioners will go first and then we'll do the public after.
Okay, thank you, Chair. My questions or comments, I believe, on this item is I really agree with the extension for 6 months. Once again, I think we really need to put something in the statement that the extension and the temporary status of these parklets are due to the economic downfall because of the COVID pandemic. I really think we need to qualify that for the understanding, I feel, of the public and why they became, because that is why they became. I know there are other comments in the other in the HRB about how outdoor dining is, you know, quite the thing now. But I think right now for this particular time and why we're doing this, we should address it's because of the COVID pandemic. The other questions or concerns I have is in the agenda packet, there was mention of oversaturation of parklets, and I think this is in consideration of used parking space. If we're considering, you know, inviting more tourism to our town, we have to really consider that we don't have parking structures, we don't have assigned parking lots, and quite a few of our residential streets, any of us can drive around and see that we're really crowded. That's a whole other topic, but I mean, can we consider looking at some of the parklets that we consider oversaturated? And my suggestion or my idea for consideration, and this is not to, you know, be unfair, but I thought maybe I'm misunderstanding. The parklets were for outdoor dining. So dining, i.e. also drinking. But I don't see where this would fit in with gift stores or mercantile or merchandise, because with the current state guidelines with the COVID pandemic, you are allowed to have shoppers go into those sorts of settings with limitation. So I'm just wondering if we can discuss that a little bit, and if that's going to be forwarded to the City Council when they consider this extension, instead of just making a blanket approval. Because I feel that there are some parklets up there, and they're all very beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I just feel that I thought this is for dining and drinking only. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. David, do you have anything to say?
No comments. Thank you.
Luis?
Yes, I'm agree with Jackie about the use of the parklets. I think we need to, when in the future guidelines, if we are moving on permanent parklets, I think we need to address the use on the parklets. And as well, I think we need to address, I think you already have been working on parking and the parking issues done. And I think you are doing a good job with the city engineer. And I think we are moving in good way. So, but I think, yeah, I want to support Jackie's comments about the uses for parklets. Thank you. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Baines, do you have a comment or question?
Yes, I do. I have a comment. Certainly, I understand the concerns that were expressed by my fellow commissioners regarding the parking issues and the understanding for the usage of the parklet. However, you have to consider that there are businesses that are all trying to survive on that street, on the main street, and to discriminate against those that are not serving food and drink would be an unfair disadvantage to those that or have other types of businesses there. And to be fair to all the businesses there, the parklets should exist for any existing business that's trying to survive. That would be one way, one perspective. The other issue is the issue of the parking. Certainly, yes, that is an issue. I think that we should look for ways of finding alternative parking areas, to develop an area specifically for parking so that we can encourage, foot traffic, which would benefit not only the food and drink serving areas, but also all the businesses on the street. Because absolutely every business, whether it's a food and drink or not a food and drink, have been adversely impacted by this COVID. So in consideration of the extension of the parklets for another 6 months or to permanency, that should be taken in consideration, that every business that is in operation is fighting for survival.
Yeah, may I address?
You have something to say, Luis?
Yes. When I talk about the use guidelines, I mean, I think we need to justify the use for these parklets. And agree, if we have some business that really justify the use for these parklets, I'm totally agree to support that. But for example, I don't know, maybe some I don't know, maybe some a store that sell a drugstore, for example. It's a drugstore, and I don't think they need a parklet per se. So I think we need to justify the use of the business, I think. And I think we need to support that in the guidelines for the future, for the permanent parklets. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you, commissioners. Is there anybody else that has anything else on the board to say anything? So Don and David and I are on that ad hoc committee, and we have spoken about parking. We have spoken, talked about people not being able to use their parklets at the particular moment. And do you want to take it, Don, or do you, Dave? Do you want to emphasize on what we looked at parking, or?
Right, so I think we've covered this in our last conversation. We have a plan. We have a plan from last summer that we're going to bring forward and confirm some assumptions and add some parking quickly. We need a budget to pay for the striping to have them come out and paint the parking stalls. So that is moving forward. And there's maybe 15 parking stalls total around the perimeter of the downtown that we can consider. I'm happy to share that with the Planning Commission after, before the end of the week. I can send a copy of that old plan. And also just concerning the resolution that we're presenting for the City Council's consideration does begin with the origin of the parklets being from the shelter in place. So it is clear that there is a connection of the origin of the parklets anyway, being connected to the shelter in place. But the resolution does not go into the actual determination of whether parklets need to go away after COVID. It doesn't go into that level of detail, but it does reference the pandemic.
Yeah, and there was also looking into the school, correct, Don?
Right.
Yeah, so we are looking for parking, and we don't, like one of the business people said, they don't want this to be a ghost town, nor do I. So we are looking to keep our businesses thriving and looking at other alternatives to allow them to continue. That's just my personal opinion. And we are looking for parking. Any more commissioners before I put it to the public? Okay. Is there any public comment on this? Going once? Going twice?
There was a hand up before from Irv Begley, but then I think he put it down. So otherwise, I don't see any other hands. Commissioner.
It was Figley that had his hand up.
Irv, yeah.
Or does he have anything to say? Okay. So I am going to close this up. There's no public comment on this. We've talked about this. Does anybody want to make a motion on this?
I do. Chairperson, I'd like to make a motion, if I may do so.
Okay.
A motion here, and for the benefit of all those of you who are new to us, I'd like to read the motion as such. Whereas in an effort to control pandemic caused by COVID-19 virus, City Council declared a state of emergency March 17, 2020. And whereas the shelter-in-place health orders that follow the state of emergency closed all but essential businesses, and whereas this closure of businesses was harmful to the city economy of the city, among many other things, initiated the transformation of 3rd Street by adopting Resolution 2020-24 on May 19, 2020. And whereas to implement the transformation of 3rd Street, business owners were offered the opportunity to expand their business onto the public right-of-way and build decks, also known as parklets, where customers could sit safely and enjoy their services. And whereas in an effort to protect the historic nature of the downtown, these parklets have to be built in compliance with the city historic design guidelines. And on June 18, 2020, the Historic Resource Board approved design guidelines for this purpose. And whereas the parklet program was approved by the City Council for a period of 6 months, ending December 31st, 2020, and extended until March 30th, 2021, which is a typo error, which it was typed as 3021. It should be 2021. On November 10th, 2020, but many have asked the city to consider developing a parklet policy to govern the use of the city's right-of-way for outdoor dining and retail sales. Whereas developing a permanent parklet policy for the whole city to embrace takes time, but this could be accomplished in the next 6 months. Whereas the Historic Resource Board recommends to the Planning Commission that it adopt a resolution recommending a 90-day extension of the parklet program to the City Council for approval to allow for consideration of making parklets permanent. Therefore, it be resolved that 1, agree with the recommendation from the Historic Resource Board. 2, recommends to the City Council that the term of transformation of 3rd Street and the parklets to extend for 108 days or until September 30th, 2021, that staff prepare the policies and procedures necessary for a public debate of the city policy that governs all matters related to parklet going forward after the current state of emergency has ended. So I make a motion that we approve all that.
Second.
That's why we're doing it, folks.
Okay, can we have a roll call, Trish?
Sure. Find my- Sorry.
Thank you, John, for the clarification on that resolution.
Thank you.
Sorry for the typos.
Thank you, Dawn. It was
That's
great.
okay.
Great job. And thank you, Liz.
Okay, Dr. Mary Baines,
Aye.
Jackie Morris Lopez,
Aye.
Yolanda Delgado,
Aye.
Luis Matshane,
Aye.
David Maderas.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward to our next item. This is, can I, Don, I can't
Yes.
vote, but do you want me to pass it over to Luis so he can talk about this 5B?
Yes, please recuse yourself, and Luis can run the meeting with the 4 remaining commissioners. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye, Yolanda.
okay, Luis.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations, amigo.
Luis,
Luis, you have to do number 5B because I have to recuse myself because I'm within 10 feet of this park. So you're taking over the meeting.
Yes, thank you, Yolanda. Take care.
Don't forget to come back.
Okay.
one thing I need to do is I need to allow Rochelle to share the screen with us, because she has just a few slides to remind us where we've been with this project. So I've made Rochelle a co-host so she can share her screen. And there's been a few updates and changes out at the Franklin Park Design Project. And Rochelle, are you with us?
I am, yes.
Great. You have access to the screen if you want to share.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so this is the area we're talking about, Franklin Circle, which is the intersection of 6th Street and Franklin. And this is the triangular park in the middle of it. I'm sorry I don't have a copy of the agenda in front of me, so I'm not sure if I'm following the same.
Exact same.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, so mine's a little bit different here. I suggested the fire hydrant design first. We have an existing wharf head on the circle, and that requires a 4-inch line. And they were asking if we could increase that to the larger barrel hydrant, and we cannot because that requires a 6-inch line. Another item that they wanted to bring back was the lighting, and is someone trying to talk or ask a question?
No, Jackie just needs to mute her phone. It looks like she got interrupted. Okay.
Oh, okay, sorry. Was the lighting on the circle there? There's no existing electrical line, and we feel that solar lighting would be best. These bollard solar lights would probably be something that we should consider. Janecki and Associates, who are doing the planning for the site, will be giving us some examples with prices. The signage placement, they're also going to give us a choice of where to put the sign, but they will not be installing a sign. This picture on the bottom here is what the park looked like before the storm blew down the tree and we removed these concrete planters. And then most importantly, the ADA access. The design that was approved back in December was for the ADA access to be on the interior part of the circle. And we went back to the residents and suggested that possibly the ADA access in the corner of 6th and Franklin would be better because for walkability, people coming across those intersections would have an easier access point than having to cross on the street in the residential area. So this is the design that was approved with that blue arrow showing the ADA access on the inside of the circle. And this is the one we would like to consider adopting instead so that the ADA access is on the intersection. I believe so far, we had approved that design option 1 in December, and we'd like to change that to option 2. We did get the allocation of the grant funding resolution approved by City Council. Right now, we're following up with you guys to let you know what the answers were to those questions. And we have a rough timeline of the 50% plans being ready by mid-February and 100% by mid-March. Along with that, there'll be some building costs that'll be confirmed and some volunteer opportunities for the residents of Franklin Circle to decide how to spend the $3,000 that they've already raised for the circle and how they might be able to help do some of the physical labor. And then we still have to determine the groundbreaking and the completion date. So
Thanks,
that,
Rochelle.
Mhm.
Thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
So the planning commission adopted a resolution with a different design. And since the community is coming back and saying, we've changed our mind, we're just asking the planning commission to approve the change consistent with the neighborhood's a revised opinion of the design. So that's it, and an update. And we're going to get this thing built within the next 6 months, maybe. Let's see.
Any
Okay.
comments?
That's the release. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Rochelle.
Is the park, is there an existing name or that has not been addressed as of yet? The name of the park?
I refer to it as the Franklin Circle Park, just so that we know the location of it. Residents would like it to be named after Glennie, who spearheaded this. She was a 100-year-old, I should say, she was the first person to reside in Mission Village, which is this subdivision. And she passed away at 100 years old, just the same day, I believe, as those concrete planters were removed, which were quite an eyesore. And she was continually campaigning to get them off the block there.
So that's the name's been voted on? Is that what
No.
you're saying?
No, it has not been voted on.
Oh, okay.
The family had approved something like Glennie's Garden, but yeah, we haven't had anything official yet.
Okay.
And in fact,
Okay.
Dr. Baines, to your point, when we create a sign for the park, we've got a location for it, but the actual sign has not been determined because the name of the park is still has not been determined.
To be determined. Okay.
We want the park to move forward. If you guys want to take the next 6 months to figure out what to call it, we'll be ready for you.
Thank you, Dr. Baines. Thank you, Don. Jackie, any questions?
Thank you, Vice Chair Machine. I think this is a great idea. I grew up here. I've seen that empty circle. It's been kind of an eyesore for a long time. And I've always wondered, why can't they make that into a cute little park? So I'm really happy that this is finally going to come to be. And my idea or suggestion, this is just my 2 cents, to name that park after Miss Farney and her husband, Dr. Farney. He was the principal of our local grammar school for many years, and I grew up with his son and daughter, and they were both, quite instrumental. Like I said, he was the principal at the grammar school for many years, and Glennie, his wife, was a volunteer around town, and she did live to be 100 years old. And I think that's a really nice gesture and honor to name it after both of them somehow. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. David. You're mute. You're mute, David.
There we go. Yes, I'm in favor of the changes. I agree with them. I go along with it. As far as the name goes, I think somewhere down the line we'll figure that out. I'm on the fence either way. I know these people that's been mentioned, and I agree with any one of those names. So I'm on board with it. So, but let's go forward. Let's start building. Let's put this thing together.
Yes, totally agree.
I'd like to make a comment on the naming of the park. Having been a commissioner in another city and having been in a position of having to listen to ideas for names of features in the city, there's other considerations. I'm sure this family is a delightful family. I'm not familiar with the family, and there's probably many people in the town that are not familiar with the family, that have not been here, you know, for 50 years or whatever. Me, I've only been here 14 years. And so, but I'm just thinking perhaps there might be some consideration of a national figure, or someone that is some event or person that is globally known, you know, to bring more attention to San Juan Bautista. That's just a consideration, and not to cast any shade on the family that you mentioned. However, I'm just thinking, if we're putting ourselves on the map, and we have a web page on that exists, when they think of San Juan Bautista, if they see information that we can bring national attention to them, you know, it makes us more visible.
Thank you for that. I had also considered something along those lines, and then I thought, well, Abbey Park is named after the Abbey family for donating the baseball field. Veruti Park is named after the daughter that was lost, and Luck Park was named after the gentleman that owned property there by his daughter. And so we have a history of naming our parks after people that were part of our community. And so I think it's still in line with that. And there is an opportunity to name the park that is in the Copperleaf subdivision something broader than what's just contained in this town. Because that one's waiting for a name as well.
That's something to consider.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Oh,
you.
and Jim West Park. I'm so sorry that I didn't think of our former mayor. But you should go check out that park. It's got some excellent outdoor exercise equipment for both children and adults.
Okay. Thank you, Rochelle. Thanks for moving forward this project. I think is really good, and I like it. There are not too many changes, and I love it. It's great, and it's going to improve this year even more. Thank you so much, Rochelle, for this. And I think we need to move to action. Somebody wants to move the motion.
So the motion would be to update it to option 2.
Right.
Yes. Who want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion that we make the changes to the Franklin Park to option 2.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Rochelle.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have discussion items. I think we
You can invite Yolanda back.
back. Is she coming back?
I sent her a text.
Okay, perfect. So we have discussion items.
I'm back.
Oh, welcome back.
Okay. Okay. The next section. Thank you, Luis, for taking that over for me. The next discussion items are the ones that Don will go over again.
Right. Thank you.
Don, we can't hear you.
Oh, thank you, Chair. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. I can speak louder. Right. So just to focus on the strategic planning and reorganization conversation, just to follow up quickly, especially the Planning Commission would be concerned about number 2 of this City Council strategic plan, and might put forth a statement that asserts that the city will in the next year improve advanced planning abilities, implement the new state housing laws, initiate a new housing element, which is around the corner again, and establish a sphere of influence, urban growth boundary, and planning area. That's what the urban growth boundary is focusing on. And, we've already talked a lot about what advanced planning is. That's this topic here, the current planning and the building and the economic development and housing. So economic development is something that has been more important since COVID broke out. And we wonder if that's not a permanent function of our community development department, because it does deal directly with land use and vacancies, et cetera. So business retention and attraction, tourism, special event planning, that's going to take on a whole nother feel, as we heard from the restaurant owner tonight, Jared. Restaurants have reformed their businesses, and so will special event planning. So we'll see how that unfolds. And then we have a population projection from the regional group AMBAG, projecting our population to grow between 1 and 1.8% over the next few years. That's a lot less than our current general plan. So that kind of work needs to be coordinated between the general plan revisions and the economic development interests. So the two work together. And then we have regional planning and regional population growth to consider. So, so these are all functions that the Planning Commission would be involved with, and updating our general plan. Every 5 years, a general plan should be updated, and ours was adopted in 2016. So this is the year to consider that, and it's going to take quite a bit of money and community engagement to make that happen. So this is just another reconsideration of the same org chart, but from a lens of Planning Commission. So we would be strengthening the role of the current planning and advanced planning efforts, consider economic development and housing, and include historic preservation and building and safety. So with that, I don't know that we need to spend much more time on that, but I just wanted to put a planning lens on this same report so that we had both sides covered.
Do you have anything to say on 6B?
I just want to to congratulate Don, because I think we start to see head and feet in this city again. That's perfect, Don. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you, Luis.
Anybody have any other discussions? David?
Yeah, I'm looking at all this and it's great. It's wonderful. I'm all for it. It seems to me personally, I think the bottom 2 items, which is the regional planning and the population growth, is probably going to be the most interesting subject matter as far as all this goes. Everything above that, it plays into that. So looking forward to working on that. But I think those are probably the 2 most important areas as we grow.
Dr. Baines?
I concur. Yes, and I certainly understand the need for, an addition to this plan, actually, not a completely new plan, because there's a lot of good in the plan that was made in 2016. And yes, and with the housing development that are here, the increase in the population, there are considerations that will need to be taken in place, and also considering containing the current culture and historic culture and historic climate that exists, and sustaining that should be important in the planning process also, without stagnating economic growth. Because if you don't have economic growth, then you won't have a city that can sustain itself. So these things will be taken in consideration, I'm sure, and I'm looking forward to being part of the planning process.
Thank you.
For the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brady. Jackie, do you have anything to say?
Thank you. At this time, I feel like I need to really do a little bit more research on this, but one of my comments is that I think I'd like to see a lot more public engagement with the process. I know that the work gets done with the committees and the commissions and the city council and staff, but I really would like to see more community involvement. And I know that our focus is economic growth and development, but I really feel like, our asset too is our community and our people that live here. And I really feel like we need to engage them in the process more. And I'd like to be part of that. But definitely, I think we need to think forward and see how we can maintain our assets that we have, but also looking forward to how we can have more of an economic base. And those are the ways that we can bring in more revenue without necessarily looking to building more homes that can improve our infrastructure. We've been dealing with that for a long time. So yes, I look forward to the heavy lifting and the hard work with the help of the community. Thank you.
Is there any more comments from the commissioners? Wow, I'm really blessed to have all you guys as my fellow commissioners. I agree with all of you guys about really getting involved in this and being a part of the new growth and making this work. And maybe Don, on that 6B, maybe including the Japanese heritage that we strongly have in San Juan, excuse me, and the Indian heritage, all the cultures that you mentioned, but you said Indian, but we also have a large Asian, African community and Latino community. Maybe we have to expand on those.
Thank you.
That's
I'll include those in my notes. Thank you.
And any more comments from the commissioners? Okay, do we have any public comments? Cara, you have to unmute yourself. Cara, unmute yourself.
Okay, hi.
Trish, 3 minutes.
Okay, I am really interested in the box that says business retention and attraction. I think a lot more can be done by a community development person to figure out what kind of businesses we can have in this town that's going to attract people to shop here. And I think that is a major element of this, this chart that we have here. Business retention and attraction. We really need to focus on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cara. Any more public comments?
I don't see anything, Commissioner.
Thank you, Liz, for helping me out because I am also challenged like Cara on technology.
You're doing a great job.
My pleasure.
Okay. Is
Thank you for your feedback.
Is there anything else on 6A or B? Go ahead, Don.
Oh, this is just a recap of again, the planning department's perspective on the SOI ad hoc committee. that it's vitally important. We're vulnerable right now. Funding the strategic plan equals funding this effort. So this is a key component in our strategic plan moving forward. So we need to make sure the city council keeps that on the top of the list in a couple of weeks when we talk about it. And then that the vast majority of residents in our community survey agree that the small town charm are the community's biggest assets. And to be prepared to answer the hard questions about growth. The urban growth boundary ad hoc committee has already tried to answer some of these really hard questions. And that a planning director would help the city full-time attention on this priority. And just to realize that in our current general plan, we have these huge numbers for growth, and that's where we're vulnerable, because our 2016 general plan had this huge sphere of influence around it that was never taken to the LAFCO, so it was never adopted. But we do, so we need to adopt an SOI, a sphere of influence, as soon as possible. So our boundary now comes right along San Juan Hollister Road and then around in this direction. And last January 19th, we were talking with the city council about a proposal to study these properties in here. And you can see this map is a little bit old, but these are zoned residential and for medium density and low density residential now. And so it's important to realize that when we take this map and we consider lots 3, 7, 10, and 13, that these are property owners that want to grow and develop, and some of those would be residential. So just to understand, these are residentially zoned properties that are outside our boundaries, that are right on our edge. And this one is now free from restrictions by the Williamson Act. So that was the focus of this SB2 grant. And I want to take this SB2 grant back to the Urban Growth Committee. And that's probably where it belongs. And we'll look at the developments, and we'll look at the sphere of influence, and we'll let the Urban Growth Boundary Committee then report to the City Council, and we'll move it forward from there. Because I think it needs time. This was the proposal to look at these spots. $160,000 grant, HCD, Housing Community Development. So I brought forward to the council, and Councilmember Friels especially summed it up nicely. And so did you, Yolanda, when you said, I need more time to think about this stuff. So I'm just letting you know that it's my intention to take this to the Urban Growth Boundary, and that we have plenty of community input, as Jackie recommends, and that we don't push anything faster than we need to, because this is really important stuff and we need to take our time and work it out. So if anyone has any questions over that, I just wanted to share that plan with you and let you know that we're going to take our time, and I'm glad the Urban Growth Boundary Committee is coming together soon and ready to get back to work on that. So that's it for UGB tonight. And I think that's almost all of the agenda. We're almost home.
Yes, we're almost home. Thank God. Thank you. Any comments?
I just want to make a final comment about this.
Yeah.
And this link with about the new plan about the city you have done. I think we need to implement new rules for if we have some new developments or housing or something, implement some kind of regulations about the water savings, sewer, that kind of because all our neighbors, for example, in Monterey, Salinas, all that kind of cities and counties, they implement, and I think we are really behind. Santa Clara, for example, they have a lot of restrictions about water and about sewer, about energy. I think we need to implement our Title 24 in our new developments.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. San Luis Obispo is pretty incredible. They have banned natural gas in new development.
Yes.
Water softeners in new developments. Yeah. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
We suffer a lot of water because we don't have any kind of restrictions for the new development.
Exactly.
So we suffer about sewer because we don't have any kind of restriction for the new developer. So I think we need to improve that kind of regulation in our city. So if we are moving that way, let's take the move.
Yes.
Yeah, and if I could say something too, whatever we do in the south portion, it becomes a template for the rest of the sphere of influence. I would like to see that be a template that we do all the right things there, so that when we go elsewhere, when it comes to growth or looking for open space, we've got a roadmap that says this is how we do things here in San Juan, because this is where we want to protect open space. This is where we want to go with
Yes.
our natural areas that we want to invest in as far as growth goes.
Right.
And so going in the south area and working that out, but at the same time, we're aware of what's happening in the north and east and west of us. What's going on in there, so that when we put whatever we put in the south portion, it'd be conducive to where we're going to go on the east side of San Juan Bautista or the west side.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? So that we don't start something that becomes we get stuck with when it comes to
Exactly.
developers and what have you. So
Better to have a vision and tell the developer, this is our vision, than to have the developer force their division down our throat.
yeah, if we're going to put a lot of emphasis in one area, what does that mean to us? And how do we apply that to around San Juan? And how do we shake hands with other communities? And go, what about the county?
Yeah.
We really need to look at all that, so that we put in some kind of protection to say, hey, this is how we want to grow. And we're meeting all the basics that we need to do when it comes to state and federal. And we're there, but we have to demonstrate our uniqueness and how that's viable to what's around us.
Yes.
That's right. And that's a smart growing.
Dr. Baines, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I want to honor all of your time. So in the interest of honoring all your time, I won't say all that I could say, but I will say, I will say that, of course, yes, all of that begins with your mission statement, and a commitment to the mission statement. And the mission statement has to have input from all of the stakeholders, all of the community as much as possible, whenever possible. And then you stick to that mission statement, and then you find the developers and the strategic planners that can honor your mission statement. And your mission statement doesn't have to be paragraphs long. It's a statement, usually a paragraph, okay, of what you want to do, what you intend to do, and how you want your city to be, and how you want your citizens to be satisfied and productive and contributing to the development of their city, of our city.
Our city, yeah. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, David. Thank you, Luis. Jackie, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying this is just discussion items. And I guess we're just sort of just kind of talking freely about what our thoughts are on this. And I think I'm looking at the one slide, the SB2 grant, South San Juan area, and it's in Bolden. And I feel, the talk about development to me equals more housing, more building, and developers, but what was emboldened here is that we don't have any answers until we get the community to weigh in. And, and Dr. Mary Baines referred to our mission statement, and the mission statement clearly speaks to, at least with the Urban Growth Ad Hoc Committee, about maintaining and preserving our uniqueness and our ruralness and our historic nature. So I think we really, really have to take a really long, hard look at this, get a lot of community input. Stakeholders, yes, understand property owners, but being a property owner does not give you exclusive rights as to build whatever you want.
Yes.
So I think all these have to be weighed in, and I think we really have to look at our mission statement and really hold true to that, and get a lot of community involvement. Once again, thank you.
You're welcome. And I agree with all my fellow commissioners, and we need to be transparent. I've been here for 11 years, and I don't remember being the prior uh, commissioners and city planners, city as transparent as I want to be. We're getting there. And yes, I do want more community input. Thank you, EJ. He's trying to get on here. Kara's always on here. Rhonda and a lot of people. And we need more input from our communities. And if it takes a village to make this work. And I think we have a good village. And with that, do we have any public comment?
Cara Vonk.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Cara.
I'm on my 5th glass of wine, so I'm a little flushed. Haven't had dinner yet. But I just wanted to key in on David Medeiros' template idea. And this is something that we've tried to do with Creek Bridge and now it escapes me, the newest one. Anyway.
Greenleaf?
No, Greenleaf, that was a mistake. And because that one got locked in before we could
Yeah, that was
make any changes.
Rancho Vista, yeah.
But
We're being
Rancho
transparent.
Vista, you know, talking about a template, to maintain all historic towns have the houses facing the street because that's welcoming, the front doors are there. That is the whole idea, houses facing the street, not behind a big wall like a gated community. So they should be. And then parking strips, you'll see this in Creek Bridge, you'll see it in Rancho Vista. There are supposed to be parking strips with trees in them. So it's opening and welcoming to the community. Creek Bridge, it got locked in, so we weren't able to do that. If you look at the Alameda, the houses are facing the street. So this is just something that I'm really concerned about. So if we do develop that template, I'd like to see that built in. And then I also agree with Jackie's statements that, we really need to get the community involved in this. I don't think we need that much housing, but we do need to get control of the areas around our city so that we're not surrounded by suburbia, which is, the whole idea was that we're going to be surrounded by open space, agriculture, ranch lands, walkable. The people in Rancho Vista, that's a long ways to walk now to the windmill. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting off the beaten track here. I need to wrap it up. Anyway,
Okay.
you guys, thanks
Have
for
another.
hanging in there. Thanks for doing everything that you're doing. Really appreciate it. I'm getting off now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We have EJ Sabathia.
Go ahead. EJ?
Hey guys, I wanted to make just a few statements. Number one, my wife and I love walking the town. I should rephrase. She loves making me walk the town. I am not the dog in the family, but one thing very clear.
Sebastian, that came up before.
I had a nice chat.
I'm not.
Some people in town. I've been reaching out to people, just trying to get a sense of where the town is, where people feel, what people think, and I've slowly but surely been trying to set up little personal conversations. COVID makes that hard, but I made a point to Scott when he and I talked, Scott Friels, and that point is I grew up in Evergreen in South San Jose, and while San Jose is a big city, Evergreen was always its kind of own small town, and people don't move to small towns to make them big cities. And by and large, the Rancho Vista community members that I've spoken to, none of us moved here to make we are the new one of the newer subdivisions, but I don't live in San Francisco for a reason. It's a beautiful city. I'll never live there. So I just want to I want to make it clear where I'm coming from, where my family's coming from, and where a lot of the rest of us are coming from. We want to get involved in what's going on in town to help the town thrive and survive and continue to be. But we're not, that effort shouldn't be confused with trying to make it a large town. None of us want that.
Thank you, EJ. I grew up in San Jose, born in San Jose, and I came out here because of that. I retired out here. I delivered mail for many years in 95135, and I don't want it to be a large city. But I'm glad that Luis wants to make the sphere of influence larger so we have control of it. And I want our city to make like you want to jump on board and get on. And I hope that you put your application on for the ad hoc committee for the sphere of influence. Please do so, EJ. Thank you for your service and your wife's committed service to this city. Thank you for your overall persona. And that's all I have to say. Okay, with that, is there any more comments, Liz?
I don't see anything, Commissioner. I think it looks like we're getting ready to wrap up, I think.
Correct. Okay, let's move on to 7, the planning commissioners. Any planning commissioners who to speak of anything that are not on the agenda? Jackie, go ahead. I see your hand up.
Jackie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to close this meeting with a special word of honor for a lost community member, Mr. Vincent Pinuela. He was well known in the community as Bobo. He was one of the large former Filipino community members. His family was here for many, many years. I'm also part of that Filipino community, and he passed just last week. He was in a fatal single car accident and never recovered from a coma, and he was put to rest today. Very quiet funeral, because of COVID, and I just want to honor this meeting to him. He gave a lot to this community, and maybe we can reach out to his family, because Bobo was not only an expert gardener, he also was very, very, very intelligent. He was had a disability. He could not speak or hear. He used sign language, and with people that didn't sign, he used to write in a little notebook if you knew him well. But he also was very talented in electrical engineering. And my husband's a retired electrician, and he often would talk with Bobo, and Bobo showed him this scale model of San Juan Bautista. I think the family has that in possession. And also he had another project where he had a little city that would light up. And I'm hoping that maybe we can honor him and maybe have it in display in our Luck Library someday. But I just want to say rest in peace, Bobo, and just dedicate my my participation tonight in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Anybody else? Dr. Baines?
Hello? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah, I want to just thank you all for the opportunity to participate tonight. And I didn't understand the length of the participation. And I apologize for that, because, well, we'll just get that straight later, at a later point when you're all more rested. So I'm going to, if your meeting is to continue, I apologize, but I'm going to have to leave the meeting at this point. But
no, we're wrapping up.
Oh, you are? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I
Bob?
look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have anything to say? David, Luis?
I'm good. I'm good. We're just going to take time to do things right. That's all there is to it.
Thank you. Transparency
So
and the residential involvement. Luis, you have anything to say?
I just want to thank you and to welcome Dr. Mary Baines and Jackie. It's going to be a pleasure to work with you, and welcome.
Yes.
And
Thank
let's
you.
move on.
Thank you.
Anything, city manager and planner?
No, I appreciate everyone's hanging in there with me tonight. I'm sorry to work you so hard on your first day, Dr. Baines and Jackie. So the future ones will be more efficient, I promise. But I thought tonight's meeting was really good, and I appreciate everyone's candor and involvement. So thank you for your feedback tonight.
Okay, and with that, I would like to adjourn, anybody having a motion to adjourn?
I moved that we adjourn this meeting.
I second it.
Okay.
So
Aye.
adjourned.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.
For
Aye.
Bye.